You ready to move up? He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I am your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Saturday, August 28th. Add it to your calendar. the Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC, annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, your real stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There is only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more. No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-hosts, Speedy Petey, and Mr. Mothball himself, Tyler Harrison. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our iOS, our Apple podcast, whatever you want to do. You can go and download our app by going to iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Well. And my cracking voice is going on. And I will say this. We have a great show lined up for you guys. We are going to obviously get into the top 21st century team in professional sports. So we're going to argue why we think certain particular teams.
There's no argument.
What do you mean there's no argument? There is an argument. Could you just shut up and let me finish? And then you can say whatever you want.
I'm here.
Yes, there is an argument. But anyways, we have a great show lined up for you. We're going to talk about the greatest top 21st century. Speedy, what are we talking
century.
about? 21st century. What are the things we're arguing about today? Because you pissed me off. You cut into what I was talking about. Go ahead. Speedy, what are we talking about?
I think you were talking to him because
you're an idiot. You
said Tyler cut in, so I thought you were asking him.
Speak up and shut up.
So it's the best defensive player of each sport and the best running back in the last 20 years, as well as the greatest team of any sport in the 21st century, both single team and in terms of dynasties or multiple championships.
We're also going to get into week 3 in the NFL. So we're going to talk about all of week 3. We're going to go through each game and we're going to go through the strengths and the weaknesses. And we're also going to do our picks, which we do which we're going to start every single week. We're going to go through our picks and we're going to make our picks. But like I said, I wanted to get into something that's going to kind of go back and forth, banter about it. Tyler says there's no argument to the top 21st century team. I do believe there are quite a few teams that we can argue, the Red Sox being one of them, the Miami Heat being another. There are quite a few teams, the Golden State Warriors, the Patriots. So there's a lot of teams that we could go in and out and argue who the greatest sports team in this 21st century. But by the way, this thing going on right now with this kid, what's his name again, who killed his girlfriend? Brian Laundrie. I have no idea what's going on, and I'm trying to keep up with what's going on. They still haven't found this guy. They still haven't found this kid. What are you saying now?
I don't think that's his real name.
What do you mean you don't think it's his real name? He's from Blue Point. It is his real name.
Nah, I don't know.
Anyways.
McCaffrey's out.
What do you mean Christian McCaffrey's out?
He's out.
What, did he get hurt in this game?
Yes, he did get hurt in this game.
Well,
his hamstring tear. He will not be back.
Well, who cares? Okay, I could care less. We can get into the game after we're done with this monologue because you keep cutting off of what we were talking about.
You asked me a question.
Why? Where does Christian McCaffrey have anything to do with Brian Laundrie? I'm talking about Brian Laundrie, and you bring in Christian McCaffrey.
No, I thought you said let's air out the dirty laundry.
No, that's what Carl said.
That's what Carl said. I didn't say that.
Well, sorry.
Now, by the way, I like I was saying, till I was rudely interrupted.
Who interrupted you?
You did. Oh. And I'm wondering why the FBI hasn't found this kid yet. Now, his parents supposedly had a Winnebago. It's gone. It's disappeared off the face of the earth. And still, this kid and the Winnebago hasn't been found. So obviously, I see Snug saying that he's probably dead. Well, if he's dead, where's that Winnebago? So that's what I'm saying. And the FBI you talk about a kid. This isn't a guy that has a lot of money. This isn't a top-end bank robber or murderer. This is a guy, he's a kid from Long Island, New York, that murdered his girlfriend and completely disappeared off the face of the earth. So I don't understand it. I don't get it. So hopefully they find this piece of crap, okay? Because after, I would really like to know what he did to her. They still haven't, the autopsy is going to come back next week. So hopefully by next week we know what happened to him. And by the way, Mike Eilers, a.k.a. The Beef, says his parents bought him time to escape. So probably true. And his parents right now are sitting behind bars.
That's awful.
What do you mean? That's awful.
Like, first of all, this just goes to show you what's wrong with this country, right?
It's their son. It's their son.
I don't give a crap. If my son murdered somebody, you're going to jail. Sorry.
You're not going to say that if it was your son.
You want to bet? I bet you any amount of money on the planet. I'd say, all right, well, good luck in jail.
Do you know who Ted Bundy is?
Yeah, he's a mass killer.
Okay. Ted Bundy's mom, who actually went up in his court case when he was getting accused. He was actually, he's a lawyer for himself in court for the murders that he committed, especially the ones in Florida. His mother still, to this day, doesn't believe that he was a mass murderer or he killed anybody. His own mom.
Well,
so
you're not talking about sane people.
And he killed over 40 people.
You're not talking about sane people.
Whatever. Anyways, I want to get into week 3. We're also going to talk about the top 21st century team of this era. We're going to talk about the top defensive player of the last 20 years and the top running back. Is that what we're talking about?
Top running back of the last 20 years.
20 years. So that's what we're going to get into. But first things first, I want to get into week 3 in the NFL. And usually we go through the New York teams and then we go through the whole league. But we're going to talk about the New York teams last because yesterday it was just absolutely craziness. No. And I don't want to get into the whole Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones saga because it seems like anytime I talk about a quarterback on this show, anytime I want to attack a quarterback on this show,
Carl,
the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth is the Jets and Zach Wilson. So I don't want to even get into the Jets or Zach Wilson until later in the show. I don't want to get into the Giants until later in the show because it just gives me a headache that the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth is Zach Wilson. I don't give a shit about Zach Wilson, okay? Zach Wilson is 0-2, and last week he threw 4 interceptions. So I don't want to hear about him. So we're going to go through certain games this week that really stands out to me, and we're going to go into the ins and outs of the game and figure out why we think these teams are the favorite or obviously not the favorites in the game. So first things first, I want to get into the Colts and Tennessee Titan game. I think this game really stands out to me. First of all, I don't know if Carson Wentz is going to play in this game. There are stories coming out of Indianapolis. It's a game time decision. I know he has 2 sprained ankles, but he says he could play in this game. They're going to need him in this game because the Titans are playing good football. Derrick Henry ran all over Seattle last week. So they're going to need Carson Wentz in this game if they have a chance in this game. The Colts defense, their front 7 is much better than Seattle's. So I do believe that the Colts defense is going to be able to keep a hold on Derrick Henry. For how much, I don't know. I think he's going to have under 100 yards this week. I think he'll have 80 to 85 yards, but he's a red zone guy, so he might have a touchdown or 2 in this game. But I do believe they're going to be able to contain Derrick Henry. The 2 players that I don't believe they're going to be able to contain is A.J. Brown, who's going into the game almost fully healthy, they're saying, over there in Titans camp. And also Julio Jones, that looked good in his second game of his first year as a Titan. I'm sorry. So going into this game, you talk about the Colts. This offensive line needs to stay together. And also, I believe that Tannehill, everybody keeps saying that Tannehill had a bad week. He had 342 yards thrown He didn't have a touchdown. He didn't throw any interceptions. And if he plays that way, the Titans, I keep saying the Texans, the Titans have a chance to very much win this game. So what are your guys' thoughts in this game coming up this week?
I think the biggest thing to look at is the Colts defense versus these receivers, because they've had trouble with big plays a lot of the year so far. Their secondary has not been as good as we've seen it be in the past, with Matt Eberflus being coached that way. Xavier Rhodes was great last year, has not been the same this year. And I agree with you on A.J. Brown. I think they have to finally start to get him going. He's had some trouble with the injuries so far, and I think this is the best chance to get him going, a team he's much more experienced with rather than two NFC West teams. And I think this is a good chance for Tennessee to get it going. And for the Colts, I think ball control is going to be a big key. Can they get Jonathan Taylor going? He had a great end of the season last year, a big reason they got into the playoffs, but he's had a rough start to this year, some of it with the offensive line injuries too. But can they get him going against a Titans defense that's pretty good, but not great? And if Wentz is out, especially if Wentz is out too, they're going to need another weapon to go to.
Going back to the Colts, don't be surprised if the Colts win this game.
I agree.
I think the Colts can win this game, and the Colts are going to need this game. If the Colts have any chance of making the playoffs, if they lose this game, they're done. They go 0-3 in the beginning of the season. How many 0-3 teams make it to the playoffs?
Only 5. Only 5 have made it in NFL
Only 5
history.
teams. So if the Colts go down 0-3 this week, their season is over. So I do believe that the Colts are going to come out strong, and they're going to be able to run against the Titans.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is the Colts defense is still good up front against a Titans offensive line that's been banged up a lot of the year too. Taylor Lewan did not play well in the first game. Obviously, Chandler Jones with 5 sacks and then was out the second game. And they've had to really readjust that offensive line. And so Indianapolis's pass rush, which is very good in the interior, and again, very well coached too, could definitely make a difference in terms of containing Derrick Henry to the status that they need to. Because it's going to be, if the Colts are going to win, it's going to be a low-scoring game, and we know their defense can be strong.
Okay, so Tyler, you can cut into the conversation. You don't have to sit there. Yeah, you can cut in.
On and on.
Yeah,
and
but
on,
you can cut in just like I cut in. That's why
your
we're
job.
a radio show, and you can interact. I don't have to say, "What do you think, Tyler?" Get involved in the conversation. That's what I'm going to say.
What did you just say?
I was saying how the Colts front
I tuned
seven,
you out completely. What did you say?
I was saying how the Colts front 7 against a bad Titans offensive line performance-wise this year is going to need to step up.
I'm kidding. This game is going to be a blowout. And I don't mean a blowout in score. The Titans will control every aspect of this football game until they see fit. I agree with you. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to have he's certainly not going to have a week how he had last week. But Julio Jones, A.J. Brown are going to be the big reasons why. And I think Ryan Tannehill has a great game for his standards. He's a game manager to me, so that's fine. Mike Vrabel will win this football game at home. And you're right, the Colts are in big trouble. They're going to be 0-3, and they're not going to make the playoffs. And they'll get their gimme wins against Jacksonville and Houston.
I think the Colts could win this game, and I think they're going to be able to run against the Titans. I don't like their front 7, and even last week, this Titans front 7 did not look good against the Seattle Seahawks.
I'll put it to you this way, right? This is the end of Carson Wentz in Indianapolis either way, because he's hurt again. Well, not only that, if they win this football game, it's going to be because Jacob Eason has a hell of a game.
I don't think so. If they win this game, I think it'll be low scoring.
No, Jacob Eason, don't disrespect.
If the Colts win this game, they're going to be able to run the ball very, very well in this game. Right?
Jacob Eason's going to make big plays, and then he's going to earn another job next week. And then
I don't like Jacob Eason. So
that's fine. But if he puts some games, if he wins this game, there are going to be people that call for Carson Wentz.
So far, Carson Wentz wasn't ruled out in this game. Carson Wentz could still play.
It's highly unlikely he plays.
What? That's not what I'm reading right now. In
2 ankle sprains?
Yeah, that's fine. We've seen players play with ankle sprains.
We've seen players sit with one. He's got 2.
They're not high ankle sprains. So he could play with a low ankle sprain. If it's high, he could be out a significant amount of time. They're both not high.
Jacob Eason, too, is another guy that's more of a big arm quarterback, too, rather than trying to game plan to manage a game like they might have to do against this Titans team. Because the Titans secondary has actually played pretty well this year. It's not.
Kevin Byard's a ball hawk.
He is, and their young corners have played well, too. Outside of that bad first quarter against Arizona, I mean, they had a couple big plays against Seattle, but for the most part, they played well as a whole. It's mainly the middle of the field that has struggled, and like we were saying earlier, the front 7 hasn't got much when it comes to pass rush, except for the fourth quarter against the Seahawks.
Chiefs and Chargers, This, to me, is going to be a game that really, really sticks out. The Chargers are going to need this game. Even though the Chiefs are 1-1, the Chargers came off a bad loss against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I was talking to Beef before the game, before the show, and Beef told me that the Chargers got screwed in the game, which is really surprising because he said that, what's his name again? Justin Herbert should have been called down when he threw the ball away, and they actually called it a sack. I thought it was a sack. When you're falling back and you throw the ball away in the NFL rule book, that's considered a sack. So I believe the call was right. The Beef thought that the Chargers got screwed in the game. That's very surprising from a Cowboy fan.
They would have blamed the refs last week.
But going into this game, I think the Chiefs, especially a team that a lot of people thought could have gone undefeated this year and going to the playoffs. We heard what Pat Mahomes said before the season started, that he wanted to be the first team since the Dolphins to go all the way to a Super Bowl and win. It's not going to happen this year because they got knocked off by the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. But this game is going to be a game that really sticks out because I really like Justin Herbert. He, to me, is the future. He's one of those future 5 top-end quarterbacks that are going to be in the league. When we would talk about Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, now you talk about Justin Herbert. We don't know the other guys, but these 3-4 guys are right now the 3 or 4 quarterbacks. Burrows has not looked good, okay? In the last 2 weeks, Burrow has he's thrown 4 interceptions. This is an elite quarterback who actually has weapons on his team. So Burrows did not look good last week. We'll see if Burrows can strategically move forward and get better, but he hasn't looked better. So,
your boy.
What are you talking about?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, yes, but Kyler Murray has only been in the league 2 years. If he significantly has a good season,
So is Herbert.
What?
So
No, Herbert's this is his second year.
This is his second year. This is his
So
third
Herbert
year.
can be in there, but not Murray.
Kyler Murray. I don't think Kyler Murray is where he is. Justin Herbert has proven to me enough. Kyler Murray has a very good team around him. Justin Herbert, you look at his team, there's a lot of deficiencies on his offense. Yes, he's got 2 good wide receivers. His running game, is it really that good? It's not. I think Justin Herbert, he stood out to me last year. He was Rookie of the Year. Kyler Murray, I still think Kyler Murray hasn't stayed healthy since he's come into the league. I want to see Kyler Murray play a full season with health. If he does that, he's in. I still think Kyler Murray's up there in the top 5, top 6. But again, we're talking about future quarterbacks of the. I think Justin Herbert is right there. But
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen had a bad game last week. And you want to know something? Josh Allen, for a guy that got a lot of money in the offseason, and he got a significant amount of money, we talked about it yesterday, he has not looked good in the first 2 games of the season. And this is a guy that was an elite quarterback last year. Some people said it was a top 3. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
He had a bad game against Miami when they won 35-0, and he played okay against Pittsburgh.
Did he really?
Yeah, that pass rush and that defense.
Speedy, what was his numbers?
That defense is good.
Against Pittsburgh,
I don't really care what his numbers are. He didn't play that bad.
And Speedy, when he brings up Pittsburgh, you got to think in your head to go and look at numbers so we can get the numbers.
Nope.
That's what you're supposed to be doing. So what
Rob
was
Anderson of the Jets?
What was the numbers? What did you say?
30 for
Rob
51,
Anderson from the
270 yards, and 1 touchdown.
That's not good.
That's not bad.
That's not good.
That's not bad though.
Josh Allen has not looked good this year. Okay, an elite
He
quarterback.
looked bad last week. Yes.
He hasn't looked good all year.
He hasn't looked great. He's looked okay.
He's been in 2 games this year. He hasn't been. And when you're considered an elite quarterback, you don't have games like that. Even Patrick Mahomes last week lost against Baltimore. Threw for what? 347 yards.
And his fault they lost.
No, what do you mean it wasn't his fault?
It's not his fault.
Josh Allen. Who are you talking about? Who's his?
Pat Mahomes. You just brought up Pat Mahomes.
We're just talking about Josh Allen.
You said Mahomes.
I never blamed Patrick Mahomes on their
I'm just
loss.
saying.
Patrick Mahomes
You
in a
literally
bad.
just said Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes in a bad losing a game. He plays significantly good. Okay, that's what an elite quarterback does. He is not an elite quarterback if he can't do that consistently. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And now that Christian McCaffrey's hurt, watch how bad Sam Darnold throws the ball now.
Well,
Josh
Rob
Allen
Anderson just dropped a pass.
Josh Allen, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick against Miami.
Oh, he looked bad against Miami. I said that. But I think he looked okay against Pittsburgh.
Anyways, going back into the Kansas City Chargers game, what's going to stand out in this game? The Chargers defense. The Chargers are going to have to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes if they plan to win this game. They cannot have a gun shootout with Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City Chiefs team. And I don't believe Hill is going to have another bad game from what he had last week. What do you have? One catch for
3
15
catches,
yards.
14 yards.
14 yards. Tyreek Hill is not going to have another game like that this year. So you expect Tyreek Hill to stand out again after week number 2. And also, Travis Kelce had a significantly big game in game number 2. We have seen the Chargers over the last couple of years have problems against tight ends. So Travis Kelce, who I believe is the best tight end in football, he's going to play a big part in Kansas City winning this game. The Chargers, they got to get to the quarterback, and the Chargers are going to have to obviously run the ball against this Kansas City Chiefs team, because even though the Kansas City Chiefs secondary has not looked as good as it did last year going all the way through the playoffs, I do believe that the Kansas City Chiefs defense is not as bad as they look right now. And Clark coming back, Clark's got to get his feet wet. When he figures things out, he's going to be dangerous too. This front seven is still one of the most dangerous front sevens in all of football, the Kansas City Chiefs. So what do you guys think? What do you think, Speedy?
I was going to say the Chiefs defense, I think, a lot of yards in this game. The trouble the Chargers have had a lot of the season so far has been their red zone offense, where Herbert's thrown a lot of incompletions and a couple interceptions in the red zone too. Austin Eckler is a good running back, but he's a smaller back, not really a red zone threat. So I feel like you're going to see them have to settle for a lot of field goals, which is not going to help in this kind of matchup. Now, the Chargers defense, I've been actually very impressed with, especially in the middle of the field. And that's why I agree with you. I feel like they're going to take out Travis Kelce for the most part. Both safeties have played well. Derwin James has been the best safety so far in the league this year, and Nasir Adderley as well.
They've had problems with tight ends over
the
years.
They have, but I think Brendan Staley's done a nice job coaching this defense where the middle of the field has not gotten exposed as much. Now, you're right. The pass rush, I think, could be a little better, and also the run defense could be a little better too. But also the Chiefs have not run the ball well so far this year. So I actually feel like you're going to get more of a lower scoring game, even though it's a high-profile quarterback matchup. I feel like you're going to get a lot of yards, but not as many points, because both these teams have trouble with the red zone and smaller running backs.
And the beef says, I got lucky in fantasy. Nobody gets lucky in fantasy. And by the way, I beat your sister, and your sister, you don't get lucky.
You two get lucky.
You don't get lucky. If your players get injured, that's where the unlucky part is. And
That's
by the way,
right. That's the definition of luck.
First of all, you don't get lucky. If your team is good, you win. And by the way, I wasn't lucky. But just because I beat your sister by 1 point in fantasy, I still beat her. And say whatever you want. And by the way, Jarvis Landry got hurt in the first quarter of the game. He had 1 point for me. If Jarvis Landry actually had considered a 17 points like he was supposed to estimate to get, your sister didn't stand a chance against me. So you win by a point. Okay. I would have won by 18 points if Jarvis Landry didn't get hurt in the beginning of the game. And that's what hurt me. And that's why the fantasy was very close. But I was not lucky.
Chargers win this game, ladies and gentlemen. Chargers win this football game.
That's it.
And Pat Mahomes
Chargers
goes 1-2.
I don't think the Chargers win this game. I think the Chiefs, there's no way the Chargers are going to hold Tyreek Hill to 15 yards in this game. There's no way.
I guarantee you see Derwin James shadowing him the entire game.
No, he'll be shadowing Travis Kelce.
I don't care.
He's not going to be able. How the hell is Derwin James going to keep up with Tyreek Hill?
Derwin James is fast.
He's not Tyreek Hill.
No, he's not. He is not. But he's also got 15 yards.
He is a safety. The corners play the wide receivers.
Also, the Ravens used a lot of bracketing too in coverage. It wasn't just one guy shoving Hill down.
The safety is the one that goes all the way back by the goalpost, right?
Depending on the scheme, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Again, and he says Hill hurt her, and Jarvis Landry hurt me. So I still won.
Who gives a flying
I still won.
crap?
And by the way, who's in first place right now in fantasy? I am.
God,
Who's leading in
why'd you
points
do this?
in fantasy? I am. So you can sound lucky all you want. I'm still kicking the crap out of everybody in your league. And I guarantee you, by the end of the fantasy,
Why do you
could you shut up for a second and let me speak and stop cutting me off? By the end of this season, I will win my second championship out of your fantasy league. I can guarantee it. You can book it. That's what I'm going to say. I am going to. What? Oh, you're 2-0. The only reason why you're 2-0 is because I told you to draft a running back at your number one pick. You were going to draft Patrick Mahomes as your number one pick. You finally listened to somebody, and that's the only reason why you're 2-0. So there you go. I don't know why you're holding your eyes. Tyler, if you don't want to do the show, then leave. Okay?
It's not about doing the show. It's
We
like,
are
why
talking-
are we talking about fantasy league that no one understands what's going on?
First of all, we are talking and we're interacting with the fans. That's what we do on this show.
Well, the Beav's an idiot.
Well, the Beav is not an idiot. He's arguing about fantasy sports. And you want to know something? If he's going to say something to me and tell me that I was lucky, he doesn't know what luck is. Okay? And I plan to win my second championship in his fantasy league. So, anyways.
Fantasy luck is if, like, Tyreek Hill were to get, like, a 60-yard catch because the ball popped in midair and he somehow caught it, like, when he shouldn't have caught it. That's luck.
And I told him.
What didn't happen.
And I told him, and this wasn't even being cocky, I told him I was going to win in the fantasy league. When I picked my team, I told him it's over. And it is over. I'm going to win in the fantasy league. Anyways, going back into the Bengals and Steelers, I think this game, obviously it's a divisional game. It's a very important game. Both teams 1-1. Joe Burrows looked horrendous last week, absolutely horrendous. And if he goes into Pittsburgh and plays that way in Pittsburgh, he doesn't stand a chance in that game. I believe the Bengals are going to be able to run the ball. Joe Mixon's going to be able to run the ball against this Steelers defense. But I also believe the Steelers running game is going to be able to. I think this is going to be the battle of the running backs. Who's going to run the ball better? Is it going to be Harris or is it going to be Mixon? Whoever runs the ball better in this game is going to win the game. When you look at Ben Roethlisberger, has Ben Roethlisberger looked like the elite quarterback that we've seen over the last 20 years? No, but he was very efficient. Not last week, the week before that. And if he stays efficient with the weapons that they have a bunch of good young weapons. I believe the Steelers can win this game because it's in Pittsburgh. But beware of the Bengals. We didn't see a lot of Jamar Chase last week. I expect we see more of Jamar Chase. I also Boyd. As good as Boyd was or has been over the last 2 years, he has not looked good so far this season. A lot of people believe he still is the number one wide receiver on this Bengals team. I want to see Boyd stand out in this game against this very easy, I believe, not a very weak secondary of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think in terms of this game, you're going to see a lot of flashy offenses, but not a lot of consistent offenses. Both these teams have really been up and down so far. Najee Harris got it going a little bit in certain stretches of the game, but not consistent as a whole. And Joe Mixon was great the first week, down the second week. So which end of it are you going to get out of him? I agree with you on Jamar Chase. I think this is going to be a big game for him. The Raiders receivers that aren't very good got some big plays against the secondary. That's a bit worrisome. And Cincinnati's offensive line has played well. So I think the Bengals will keep it in this game. The problem is they have a bad history in Pittsburgh, and two, Joe Burrow has not looked good with his decision-making so far this year. And even though the Steelers defense hasn't been great, it's still a good unit as a whole that is well coached. So I think you're going to see definitely some turnovers both ways in this game. I think you're going to see a lower scoring game than people expect.
Tyler?
So Cincinnati's going to win the football game. They're going to go in there. Joe Mixon's going to control the clock, as you tried to say before. And Joe Burrow's going to go out there and he's going to shine. This is going to be a Joe Burrow coming out party. And, Cincinnati's going to win this football game, I'd say, by at least 10.
The BVS, should the Steelers bring in Cam Newton? I say no. I don't think that kind of offense fits. He fits that kind of offense.
Ben's still good. I mean, he's still a guy that you can win with.
Is he even playing Sunday?
Ben? Yeah. Yes.
Did he tear a pec?
No. Big Ben is playing on Sunday. I haven't heard anything that he's not. And I think, listen, Pittsburgh still win, and I still think Pittsburgh can win its division. But again, I look at Bengals. This is probably the best division in all of the AFC because you look at the Browns, you look at the Steelers, Baltimore, the Bengals. Who's better than
the West?
What do you mean the West?
The West is better than
the West.
North.
What? The AFC West?
The AFC West.
Who's in the AFC West?
The Chiefs, the Broncos, the Raiders, that's two undefeated teams.
Okay.
One team that's 1-1. And then there's the, who am I forgetting here?
The least clutch team in football.
Oh, the Chargers, who are also 1-1.
If you look at the Baltimore Ravens, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you look at even the Bengals. The Bengals are probably the worst team in this division. They're 1-1. All these teams, and I believe this has been the best division in the AFC for the last 5 years, in my eyes. I mean, and you look
the
at Cleveland.
AFC East is going to be competitive too.
I'm not saying that they're not competitive. I still think that this is the best division in the AFC. And going into week number 3 with the Browns and the Bears, I think this is upset central. I believe Chicago can absolutely win this game. I know they're going into Cleveland, but Justin Fields is playing and he's starting in this game. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Browns are going to have a problem stopping Justin Fields. He's going to be able to run the ball. He's going to throw the ball. I believe this is his breakout game. I think this is where we're going to start talking about Justin Fields as the next young quarterback that we're going to be talking about in the league. I think this is a game that the Bears can absolutely win.
They absolutely can. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I don't know if they'll actually win, but they definitely can win. Justin Fields, they don't have tape on him yet in terms of the
that's why I think he's dangerous.
Game. Yes, exactly. And that's why I think he's going to get a lot of rollout plays. The Browns are more of a 4-3 defense where I think you're going to see him roll out and throw on
to
the
Myles Garrett.
He can roll out away from Myles Garrett.
To Jadeveon Clowney?
Okay.
They're the two most athletic ends.
I agree. I'm just saying
that
game
he's
plan
probably going to
wise,
face this year.
because they don't have a lot of tape, I do think you're going to see that in this game. I don't think they're going to win because their defense has still been up and down for the most part this year. And I think Cleveland's offense still has a lot of depth where I think they'll end up stealing it. But I think Justin Fields will play very well and prove a lot of these coaches that don't trust him, this ownership that doesn't trust him. He's going to definitely prove them wrong in this game. And like we were saying yesterday, Allen Robinson, when he has to get it going at some point. I think Justin Fields.
Ward, he won't.
I don't know if Denzel Ward will be shadowing him.
You
the whole
watch,
game.
he's going to break out this week.
Cleveland plays a lot more. Cleveland doesn't play as much matchup defense as they do in terms of.
He's going on Troy Hill, who's the best slot corner.
Okay, Troy. I'm not saying.
Remember, I said this. I'm telling you right now, the Chicago Bears will win this game.
Cleveland's going to win the game.
I think Cleveland wins the game.
Cleveland's going to control the clock. They're going to run for about 250 yards on the ground, and Baker
against the Bears defense, no.
All right, 250 is a stretch. 150 maybe.
Nick Chubb will have over 100 yards. Kareem Hunt will sniff around 100 yards.
Yeah, first of all, this year so far, have you seen Kareem Hunt sniff around 100 yards yet?
Don't talk about somebody that's got to get going. Kareem Hunt's going to get going.
Really?
They're going to give him the ball in the slot. So. He's going to be a receiver.
Not
He's going to be all over the field.
Not against this front seven.
Absolutely in this front seven.
This is the best front seven in football.
I understand what you're saying. San Francisco's got a word with you. But other than that, listen, it doesn't matter. Kareem Hunt.
San Francisco's front seven is nowhere close to the Bears.
Nowhere
even close.
Okay.
Nowhere even close.
Right,
and for you to think that, it just shows you out of your mind. You are.
Fred Warner is the best linebacker in football.
Oh, okay. You think Fred Warner out of the three linebackers that you've seen on Chicago, and you know what we're talking about.
Outside of Khalil Mack, the next best 4 players are on that San Francisco team.
Okay.
Warner's better than
Smith,
anyone else, but I think
Nick
Roquan
Bosa.
Smith's better than Greenlaw if you're judging that.
No, that's fine. But then you got Bosa. Then you got Armstead, and then honestly, I'd put in Kinlaw.
I don't know if I put Kinlaw in there yet.
Well,
him and Goldman are probably about even when it comes to big. They're both
so
kind
the
of
next
long
3
nose
players.
tackles.
Sorry, it's Khalil Mack and then 3.
When you look
Niners.
at players, it's all about team, how they play together. And you want to know something? The Chicago Bears front seven is much better than the front seven of the San Francisco 49ers.
Whatever you say. It has nothing to do with San Francisco. All I said was they would like to have a word with you. But, yeah, Kareem Hunt's going to have a nice day because he's going to be a receiver a lot.
I disagree. But anyways.
That's fun.
Going into like I said, this could be upset central. I do believe Justin Fields is going to stand out in this game. I think he's going to be able to absolutely be able to run against this Browns defense. This Browns defense, as good as they are on paper, they have not looked good all season. I know it's only 2 games, but their defense, their front seven especially, in the first 2 games has not looked good. And with the money that they spend in the offseason, bringing in Jadeveon Clowney, they need to play better. And if they think and they plan to win a Super Bowl or be an elite team going into the AFC, they need to find that front seven and they need to start playing. I'm not going to get into the Baltimore and Lions game because we all know what's going to happen in that game.
It'll be closer than you think it is.
The Saints and the Patriots. This, believe it or not, is going to be a big game because even though the Patriots are heavily favored in this game, I think they're only 3-point favorites in this game. Mm-hmm. Jameis Winston looked really bad last week. Is this going to be the same Jameis Winston of week 1 or Jameis Winston of week 2? If it's in week 1, I think they could beat the Patriots because there's no way the Patriots are going to be able to play the game that they played against the Jets, against the Saints, and expect to win.
Now, here's the other factor, too, as well. The Saints defense, they're iffy in the secondary, but the Patriots receivers are not great. So I think that's something that could definitely favor them. And like Jeff was saying yesterday, the Patriots offensive line had a tough time with those injuries against the Jets, who don't have a great pass rush whatsoever. And the Saints do have a good pass rush. So I think that'll definitely keep them in the game. The question is, can somebody else emerge for the Saints, where the Patriots love to game plan one player, usually your top player. Now, Kiermaier is not the receivers they love to game plan for, have had success game planning for, but they don't have as much experience.
He's been the only bright offensive spot for the Saints so far. What are you talking about? He
was awful last week too.
Kiermaier was even his awfulness. He was pretty damn good. Alvin Kamara, I think, still had a touchdown last week, if I'm not mistaken. Did he actually? They didn't score lots.
Non-existent.
Alvin Kamara last week.
Non-existent.
Last week against the Panthers,
it's probably one of the worst games he's had in his career.
All right, well, you looked that up.
I looked at it already.
We got Jeff on the phone.
What's up, Jeff?
Glad you were talking about the Patriots, Errol. Happy anniversary to you, friend.
I know you texted me. Thank you.
Anniversary.
He had a bad game.
20 years of Tom Brady because of Mo Lewis. And so I thank Jets fans for the Patriots' greatness.
We were going to see. We would have seen Tom Brady no matter what as the quarterback of the Patriots eventually.
No, Bledsoe was pretty damn good.
No, he really wasn't. And Bledsoe's career was practically over. And then he went to the Cowboys, and look at that catastrophe that he was on the Cowboys.
That's because the surgery he didn't come back the same from. But either way, before Jeff goes on a tear here, the Patriots win this football game, and I don't think it'll be all that close.
Really? I don't think the Saints are as bad as you make them seem.
Alvin Kamara is going to get shut down, and those corners are clamps.
I don't believe Alvin Kamara for the second week in a row is going to be shut down. You're talking about
the greatest defensive quarterback coach of all time.
I got to totally disagree with Tyler on this one. I think the Saints are going to go crazy. Alvin Kamara is going to have 200 yards rushing. Why? Because the Patriots' front seven stinks.
I knew he was going to say that.
They can't stop anybody.
I knew he was going to say that.
They can't stop anybody.
No, I think Alvin Kamara
is going to say, Speedy.
Kamara is very versatile, so they'll have to match up well with him. But they have the coverage linebackers to do so, so it's a possibility when it comes to the physicality of that. The question is, again, because they're more used to taking out wide receivers when it comes to their let's take out one star and cover everybody else game plan. They don't have as much experience being in an NFC team with Kamara, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of game plan they utilize to do that. And also,
just keep your eye out, Speedy, right?
Okay.
I mentioned him yesterday.
Uche,
and I'll just mention him again. He's their sideline to sideline guy. He's going to be the guy that's going to be all over Kamara. And while he's only a second-year guy, he's been playing great and super underrated. And numbers monkeys like you don't give him any recognition.
Nope, I didn't realize he was that good. I'll admit I was wrong on that one, Jeff. But I think it'll end up being a low-scoring game as a whole either way. The Saints, they're not really a great road team historically, but again, the Patriots home field
I think
advantage,
this game's going to be very close.
The Patriots. Yeah, I do so too. The Patriots home field advantage has been very strong as well, but hasn't been strong.
And they can't play the same way they played against the Jets and expect to win. This Saints team is a much better team than the Jets. They're built better than the Jets, and they're going to be able to run the ball, something that the Jets couldn't do against the Patriots. So I think this could be definitely a close game. I still think the Patriots, being that it is in Foxborough, they're going to be favored to win, but it could go either way. And if Jameis Winston plays like he did in Week 1, it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Well, it's a coin toss game, right?
Yes.
Because like that's how you got to look at it, right? Because you're saying all the Patriots are heavily favored. They're only favored by the home field.
I didn't say that.
No, he said they're only favored by 3.5.
They're only favored by 3.5. That's all I said.
Right, which is essentially like makes it a coin flip game, because what do you get for home field? You get 2-3 points for home field, right?
Yeah.
So it's a coin flip game. This game could really go either way. It's just honestly, the entire game is going to come down to Jameis Winston's decision making.
Right.
That's what the whole game is going to come down to. If the Patriots can force some turnovers, which they like to do against bad quarterbacks, and Jameis is still a bad quarterback, don't care about Week 1, right? Then they're going to be fine. But if Week 1 Jameis turns out, Patriots are going to be in a lot of trouble because they can't score with other teams. They can't do it. Mac Jones is still only throwing for 180, 190, 200 yards a game. He's going to be incapable of putting up 40 points, to keep up in a boat race with good teams.
Right.
I agree with you, and I also believe they have to contain Alvin Kamara. They don't have to stop him; they have to contain him. If they contain him, they're going to have a very good chance, because the only offensive firepower that I believe the Saints have until Michael Thomas comes back is Alvin Kamara. And Alvin Kamara, when you watch Michael Thomas comes back, whenever he comes back, you're going to see a completely different Alvin Kamara, because then you're not going to be thinking, oh, we got to stop Alvin Kamara. We got to try to stop Michael Thomas too. So it's going to be very interesting. How about you, Tyler?
I mean, I said this already. I think you guys are really blowing Michael Thomas up. I don't think he's all that great without Drew Brees. We'll find out. But the Saints, I don't think, are going to be able to do anything. Belichick has to game plan for one guy. You're giving Belichick 6 days to game plan to take out one guy. He can do that. That defense alone can win this game for the Patriots. Mac Jones does not have to win this football game. Mac Jones has to not lose this football game. And Mac Jones has yet to lose a football game for the Patriots.
No. First of all, he did lose again. He lost game number one.
No, he's not the one. Tyler's point, I think, is what he's making. Is Mac Jones isn't the one that cost the
No, he's not throwing
Patriots.
interceptions.
Damian Harris's fumbles are what cost the Patriots that first game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have won that game.
First of all, again, you can say that, but Mac Jones is put in position not to throw interceptions. He's throwing 7-8 yard passes. If he does that, if they fall behind against the Saints, they're not going to be able to do that. As you were saying, Jeff, if the Patriots go in this game and they fall behind with Jameis Winston, they're in a heap of trouble, because Mac Jones cannot keep up to a 40-point game against a good team. And I believe that. Right now, Bill Belichick and McDaniels just put him in position to make these throws, these healthy throws, where it keeps him in position.
Don't be surprised
to be
if he
successful.
blows up to the next Sunday either. Mac Jones might have throw over 350 yards. That secondary ain't great.
I mean, that
And
would
Kendrick
really be
Bourne-
like double his fucking output that he's had in any game so
Right,
far.
but Kendrick Bourne is going to match up very well against his secondary. Jacoby Myers matches up very well against his secondary. Don't be surprised. Jonnu Smith, who's covering Jonnu Smith?
Or Hunter Henry.
Right.
Or Nelson Aguilar.
Right. No one's keeping up with this dude. The Saints secondary is a problem.
I can't wait until this game is over, and Tyler will find a way to make an excuse, because everything that he is saying.
What do you mean? He's a Saints fan. He's making no excuses.
No, he's
right
not. He's not a Saints fan. He's a Giants fan. He was a Drew Brees fan. We all know. We've had this argument. We've had this argument.
What are you doing now?
What are you talking about?
Like, why? What now? Like, what? Make an excuse about what?
What are you talking about?
You just said I can't wait for Tyler to make an excuse. Make an excuse about what?
Make an excuse why, if the Saints win this game and maybe even blow out the Patriots. Oh, well, it was this.
I don't think they're going to blow out the Patriots.
I didn't say that they will. I think that this game is going to be very, very close, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints pull away and win this game. So, again, you're making it seem like it's a shoo-in.
I don't bet against Belichick.
It's a shoo-in. Good, you don't bet against Belichick. They lost against Miami in the first game of the week. First
right.
week.
But Damian Harris
first
coughed
week
up the
of
ball,
the NFL
what,
season.
twice?
Okay.
Who the hell would have thought that? His strength in college was carrying the
And
ball.
what makes you think that they're not going to drop the ball against the Saints? The Saints' front seven is as good as any front seven in football. They're a very good front seven. What?
They've
Patriots
lost a lot. They've lost a lot of talent.
I didn't say that they're not, Jeff.
Aside of Mario Davis, I actually don't trust anyone in this front seven.
That front seven is pretty damn
Cameron
good.
Jordan, sorry.
Anyways.
That's it.
They're top 5 defense in the league. They're going to pick off Winston twice, and they're going to win 24-20.
Jaguars and Cardinals. I'm telling you right now that Trevor Lawrence, this is the game that's going to make Trevor Lawrence break out. I think he's going to throw over 300 yards against this Cardinals defense. And that's crazy because the Cardinals defense, it's blasphemy, but I'm telling you, I believe that this is the game that's going to stand out, where everybody's going to be talking about Trevor Lawrence. He's going to have a sensational game against this Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals
where Trevor Lawrence's career comes to an end when Zaven Collins hurt.
I knew you were going to say that. But the Cardinals are going to win this game. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The Jaguars are going to be in this game. They're going to have a chance to win this game. Trevor Lawrence is going to have one of those. I know. I think.
I don't think it'll last that long.
Watch. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you that the Cardinals and the Jaguars will be very close all the way into.
Then Kyler Murray's out of MVP conversation.
Why?
He can't, because this game should be a rout. This
If
game should
the Cardinals
be
lose
a rout.
42-35, how would that put out of the or the Cardinals?
Why would they put up 35 points?
I don't think the Jaguars are going to put up 35.
No. I'm
But I don't-
hypothetically telling him. Like,
I could see the game a 24-21 win. That's where I think it could be. And I have Kyler Murray. I want him to have a
can't
good
see
game.
Jacksonville put up 20 points.
Okay.
Maybe 14.
Jacksonville,
Maybe.
there's a good chance Jacksonville can't score that many points because it'll be trash time points because it'll be 38-3 at halftime.
Remember I said this, that the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence will be in this game throughout all the way into the fourth quarter.
You said that.
All the way into the fourth quarter. And this is in Jacksonville. I'm telling you, this is the breakout game for Trevor Lawrence. He'll throw 300 yards, and he'll only throw one interception.
You're giving Urban Meyer a lot of credit.
No, I'm telling you that
Who cares if the game's in Jacksonville? What are all 8 of the fans that are going to show up to intimidate the Cardinals?
Whatever. I'm telling you right now that
Who's
the Jaguars will be in
Jones?
this game. I'm just telling you.
Who's blocking what?
Whatever you say. I'm going to come back to this on Monday.
Who's blocking Zaven Collins?
We'll come back.
David Collins was in coverage.
We'll come back on Wednesday, and I'm going to tell you that I was right. Okay? Bills and Washington. Now, this game, Washington, I know they're 1-1, and Heineke looked really, really good against the Giants. He threw over, 330 yards, 340 yards. He looked really, really good. But this Bills defense, Washington has not played as good of it against a good defense like this all season long. I know it's only the third week, but this Bills defense is a very good defense, and they're good on both sides. They're good in the secondary, and they're good in the front seven. Here's the thing. Where is Josh Allen? Is Josh Allen the elite quarterback that got all that money in the offseason? Or is this the Josh Allen that was 2 years ago that was good in one game and bad in the other? So I want to see Josh Allen start to play and pick up his game because I do believe Washington will have a chance to win this game as well. I mean, their defense has not looked good. Their front seven, where you were talking about Chase Young. Honestly, Jeff, do you think Chase Young has played well so far in the first 2 games of the season?
Yeah.
I don't. He has 1 sack. He's got 1 sack in 2 games.
That's because he's getting double teamed
That's
on
fine.
every play with a guy.
So is Chandler Jones.
The running back out of the backfield is chipping him every time. So he's fighting through a triple team, and this is why you can't always look at numbers and have them tell you the story. And this is what you do. Or you go, look at the numbers. Yeah, how many times would you get by 3 people? None, stupid.
Stupid, huh? Aaron Donald, who gets double team right now, has 2 sacks. Okay, he gets triple team. And to me, he's the best. He's the best defensive lineman in all of football. So now, you keep saying that Chase Young is dominant. If they were so dominant, why did they give up 29 points against the Giants? And this is a front seven that has all number 1 picks in their front seven. Okay, so let's see them play at a top level and actually compete against this Bills team in Buffalo, because this is the game that really needs to stand out. I think Heineke. I don't understand why they went after Ryan Fitzpatrick in the offseason. After what Heineke did in the playoffs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he should have started the season. And he's played in what? Played in 1 full. It's 2 games. He played a half a game with Fitzpatrick getting hurt, and then a full game against the Giants. He's looked pretty damn good. So I want to see if he could do it against a very good defense like the Bills. If he can, I mean, this kid could be the future quarterback of the Washington football team.
This is an interesting battle of underperforming units for the most part. You brought up the Washington front seven. Buffalo's offensive line's kind of been about the same. Now, they ran the ball well last week, but their pass protection still wasn't great. Josh Allen was rolling out a lot, took some bad sacks as a result, and some of that's on him, too. I'm not blaming the offensive line completely. But the other thing, too, is Josh Allen as well versus Washington secondary that brought in William Jackson this offseason. They still have Kendall Fuller. They got Landon Collins back, who was hurt last year. And they have underperformed too. So it'll definitely be very interesting. Why I think Washington could definitely make this interesting and maybe pull off the upset is the long week too. They coming off the win against the Giants. They get all this extra time to prepare, well rested. I think that could definitely help them. And the Bills, again, 35-0 win. It's a huge win. Sometimes you see these blowouts in a big letdown too. So I could definitely see Washington winning this game, as much as it pains me to admit as a Giants fan, because of those underperforming teams and because of some of those matchups too against, outside of Stephon Diggs, the other Bills skill players really haven't gotten it going yet on a consistent basis, where that could make it hard against a good defensive
coach. That's why
coach.
Buffalo's going to win the football game.
They don't even have any other skill player. The only other skill player
Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders played really well. He does not stink.
Gabriel Davis is the only other receiver they really got.
Emmanuel Sanders is still an elite route runner in this league, and he's going to get open.
Maybe 5 years ago.
He's so elite that he's on his 3rd team. He's so elite that he's on his 3rd team in 3 years.
New Orleans cut him because of the pay cut. They couldn't afford him. That's why they let him go.
Right.
Not because
and
he wasn't
so now
playing
this is
well.
his third team in 3 years. So how about the year before? Teams letting him go. It's his third team in 3 years. Nobody wants him.
That's so Buffalo, New Orleans, and the team before that would have been the
Broncos, probably. Broncos or Steelers?
It was
No,
Steelers then
was
Broncos.
early.
Yeah, Steelers then
So,
Broncos.
yeah, they have a bunch of young stallions. All right, come on, give the guy a break.
Yeah. They couldn't have used a good wide receiver, right? No, we like to. Bad teams like to cut good players, is what they like to do.
They have great receivers. They have 4 receivers
Who,
right
the
now.
Bills?
The Broncos?
Oh, the Broncos wide receiving core is pretty good.
Not at that time, by the way.
Yeah.
Not at that time.
They had just drafted Sutton.
No, Sutton's been drafted.
Sutton
like
was
3
on
years
the
ago.
team.
Right,
They
Sutton was
drafted
there.
Judy.
Judy is the
Well,
last.
Judy
one.
Judy hadn't even played a snap in the league yet. And so wouldn't you think it would be great to have a veteran wide receiver teach a rookie how to play? But no, he's so good that they were like, nah, we won't do that at all.
I'm not saying that.
Speedy,
The
read
teams
what
won.
people are saying, by the way.
Beeve says the upset of the week will be the Jets beating Denver. Snug says
I
he
don't
just
know
wants
about
to,
that.
wants the Pats to lose. It's just player hating. I have good authority that a source close to the program says that Alabama is better than the Jets.
That's true.
Carl says, didn't Devin Singletary had a good game? Yes, he did have
He
a
had
good
an amazing game.
He did have a good game. Snug says nobody is getting by an NFL triple team blocking. And LOL, this is fat, happy, and paid Josh Allen. He's not
Really,
worried
nobody's
about it
going to
now.
get past the triple team and blocking. We've seen Aaron Donald do it many, many different times. So I don't know what you're talking about, Snug. So you got your head so far up your ass, you don't know what you're talking about. And I also seen Khalil Mack get triple teamed and run through
it's
triple
early
team.
it's early in the season. So what? He's got one sack.
I'm not saying that. I'm attacking Snug because he says nobody can
Well,
do
you
that.
shouldn't. Snug is elite.
Yeah,
You're
he's
not.
elite. all
Snug
right.
is elite.
Yeah, he's not elite. He's elite
Anyway.
eating a hot dog or a hamburger. That's about
Anyway,
cupcakes.
The Bills will win this game because the offense will click. They will completely click. And offensively for the Redskins, I don't really see much of an advantage for them anyway. McLaurin's going to have Tre'Davious White. Good luck. That's going to be a hand-to-hand matchup all day long. And then Levy Wallace is going to cover who? Levy Wallace is a really, really underrated corner in the league.
Probably their rookie.
And Gibson is hurt. So even if he plays, that front seven, Matt Milano can cover Antonio Gibson. So I think it's going to be difficult for the Redskins the football team to put up points. I don't expect this game to be close. It won't be 35-0, but it'll be close.
I think you're going to see a closer, lower scoring game than that because both these defenses are talented, especially in the front seven. And I think Washington will get it going at some point, especially with Buffalo's line struggling.
Raiders in Miami. I think obviously the Raiders have been really stuck out to me out of all the teams this year so far. And I did pick the Raiders as a wild card team. They could sneak in as a wild card team. This defense has played a lot better than we expected it. I know it's only 2 games into the season. I want to see the Raiders play against good teams and good offensive teams before we think that they're a playoff contender. But they're playing the Dolphins. There is no Tua. And I do believe that even though it's
That'll help them.
Yes, I do believe even though it's in Vegas, I think the Dolphins are going to be able to run the ball against this defense. I think the Dolphins will be in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins win this game because of their defense. The Raiders obviously are the favorites because Tua's not playing. They don't really have a number one quarterback.
They're upgrading without Tua.
What happened?
They're upgrading without Tua. He stinks.
Oh, who's playing? Who's starting right now?
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, but I don't know about that.
He's a super sub.
Super sub.
Anything, they're about the same.
I mean, this is a game the Raiders should win if they don't. But the Raiders are known to lose games like this. So over the last couple of years, even with John Gruden there, they go into games where they're heavily favorites and they lose. So I
By
do.
the way, you got to start looking at this as the story of the year because everyone was shitting on John Gruden saying he should be fired. He's about to have his team 3-0.
Yeah, I don't know who was saying that. I love John Gruden. I love John Gruden. This is the guy that sat out for how many years as he was
7, 8 years.
Yeah,
he was in ESPN, working for ESPN for almost 10 years.
ESPN guys getting high position.
And usually when a guy comes, usually guys don't come back, or usually when guys come back, the game has passed them by. John Gruden, the game has not passed John Gruden by. He's gotten better and better, and he's made this team better and better offensively. He's pretty much rebuilt this team.
Mayock
and he's the one.
deserves some
And
credit,
he's
too.
the one who found Waller. He's the one.
Well,
that,
Mayock found him.
No, it was him. He saw him. If you actually seen the Waller thing with the drugs and the documentary of Waller, Darren Waller said that, and John Gruden said, when he was practicing on the field when they were playing Baltimore, John Gruden wanted to know who that guy was running up and down the field catching these passes. And then somebody told him Waller. But at the end of the game, Waller found out after the John Gruden's press conference that he was traded to the Baltimore Ravens. So
how can anyone give Mike Mayock credit for anything? It's a complete puppet regime. It's like a bad Seinfeld episode. You know, it's a puppet regime. That's exactly what. How many times in the league, right? Like seriously, here's a good question: how many times in the league have you seen the head coach hire the GM?
Probably one.
It's the all broadcasting ownership and front office.
It makes sense, though.
ESPN and NFL Network.
The guy's doing nothing but watching college kids anyway. It makes a ton of sense.
Do you really think Mayock is a really good GM?
I don't.
I
think
it's
terrible.
A complete puppet regime.
Go look at his drafts. They've been horrendous. They've been horrendous. And he drafts Clemson and Alabama players.
Well, Alabama players turn out to be pretty damn good.
Really? No, they don't.
How about
one out of every 5 players become good?
How about Mike Mayock?
I don't know about that. 1 out of 5.
How about Mike Mayock's big brag about his the player that he drafted in the first round one year, that kid Arnett, the cornerback.
Oh God! I said on our draft show that was the biggest reach ever.
Who hadn't played even college football in 2 years because he got suspended a bunch from Ohio State. And he was projected as like a 5th rounder. Here comes Mike Mayock drafting him in the first round, right? And how many games has Arnett played? Like 3?
And he was a slot corner safety hybrid type player. The highest grade I saw him was a 4th round pick.
Yeah. Congratulations, Mike Mayock. You're an idiot.
I literally said on our draft show last year, that is the biggest reach I've ever seen of any position.
And
it's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
And the guy that spotted Darren Waller was John Gruden. Okay, so that's a fact because you hear
how many times has the head coach hired the GM? Seriously,
0.
Usually never happens. Usually
has that
never
ever happened?
Yes, actually, it happened with San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan is the reason why. What's his name again? John Lynch was hired because of Kyle Shanahan. He's the one who picked the GM.
Well, Kyle Shanahan's a smart man.
Also, right out of the booth too. It's something with that Bay Area, except the 49ers have done it well. And the Raiders haven't.
I think John Lynch was there before.
No, he wasn't.
No, I think Shanahan was.
Shanahan was signed. Shanahan signed the what was it, 5-year deal, and then Shanahan said that the GM that he wants to work with is John Lynch.
Shanahan was literally hired during the week between the Falcons NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl.
Trust me, go look it up. John Lynch was hired by Kyle Shanahan.
Right, but at least he's
goes
got a
to
guy.
show how smart Shanahan is.
Right, but Shanahan, right? So Tyler's making a good point. He's smart. He picked a football guy in football. You know what John Gruden did? He goes, this guy from Bleacher Report sounds halfway smart. Let's freaking hire him.
Hey, they're 2-0.
They're just friends, and he knows he's running that team. And obviously Mayock is not the guy running the team. He's just
puppet regime.
He's a puppet. Yeah, and I believe that. That's what he is. So I think this game could go either way with the Raiders and the Dolphins. This could be a letdown game for the Raiders. I don't expect it to be, but I think the Dolphins defense is going to get better and better as the season progresses. This is still a very good defense, a good front seven. We haven't seen the best of this defense. Even though they're 1-1, they could be, if Tua didn't get hurt last week, they could be 2-0. Now, I don't think Tua is any good, but still.
He'll erase 35 points?
I'm sorry.
You think he would have erased 35 points?
Tua got hurt in the first quarter.
Right.
Okay. So how do you know if Tua was
blew him out? It wasn't like 35-28. It was 35-0.
Games could be. Listen, and before you cut in, Jeff, games could be different when you have a quarterback in the game. You fall behind. If Tua gets 14 points and a team's trying to play chase, and we've seen this, a game is completely different. So yes, if Tua was in the game, it wasn't going to be 35-0. Okay, because
Tua probably would have. He's Hawaiian, Tebow.
Oh, God. maybe so. But Tua is. I believe that if Tua was playing in a game, it could be a different outlook of a game.
Weren't they down 14-0 when he got hurt?
No, no.
It was only 7-0.
It was 7-0 when he got hurt.
I know Singletary busted it on like the second drive of the game.
That made it 14-0. Yes, that made it 14-0. That wasn't the first touchdown.
He was out within 7-8 minutes of the game. And as soon as Tua got hurt, the game was over.
Carl says, don't say you wouldn't want a vet showing the rookie of the way, not the way of the Jets. Snug says, I'm an elite cupcake eater like Earl is elite angry hater. Carl says, Spider 2Y banana. And I would love to see Gruden's film study of this show. Actually, that would be pretty cool, Carl.
Vikings in Seattle. This game is a very important game for the Vikings. It's in Minnesota. If the Vikings lose this game, and a lot of people pick the Vikings to be a playoff team this year.
There goes your boy, Speedy. There goes your boy, Speedy.
What, Horn?
Oh, J.C. Horn out with an injury.
What did he
J.C. Horn, a non-contact injury. There he goes.
They're losing players now. They are losing players.
That looks really bad.
They're about to
That's
lose
either
this game.
an ACL or
Davis
an
Mills
Achilles.
has been impressive.
They could lose this game. Look at this. Look at this.
Well, that should have been a pick.
Close.
That's a penalty.
That should have been a pick.
That's a penalty. Anyways, going into the Seattle game, I believe that this is going to be a very close game. I think the Vikings are going to be in this game. I believe that if Dalvin Cook plays in this game, he's going to run all over the Seattle defense. This front seven of Seattle's defense has a lot of holes. The last 2 weeks, this front seven has not looked good when it comes to running games. And I do believe, as good as Russell Wilson has looked, and Tyler Lockett has been sensational. If you look at what Tyler Lockett, right now, he's been the best wide receiver in football in the first 2 weeks. If he continues to play at the top of his game, this Seattle team is going to be prolific. But the Vikings defense has played pretty well, even with the 2 losses in the last 2 weeks. I want to see them break out. Dalvin Cook looked good last week. If he plays this week and he gets over 100 yards, I believe the Vikings have a very good chance to win this game.
This is a big one for them in terms of not only a 0-2, but also trying to, like the Ravens did last week against the Chiefs, trying to get a monkey off their back. They're so close against the Seahawks all the time, yet they just can't get the big drive, obviously the missed field goal from Blair Walsh. There were a couple other things too. They just have had a lot of trouble just finishing games against Seattle. Like they were up by double digits and blew one. So that's a big confidence booster too. If they could win this one, they're going to have to do a different game planning wise with this defense because Tyler Lockett has played very well. And Russell Wilson's played very well so far in his career against the Vikings. And yes, if the Vikings are winning this game, they're going to have to be able to run the ball. Derrick Henry obviously did it in the fourth quarter. Dalvin Cook is more than capable of doing it as well. The Vikings offensive line, though, has to step up and play a little better, too. They've had a rough start to the year, even against a iffy Seattle front four. So they have to definitely play better. And even though the Seahawks secondary is iffy, they still have done well in terms of game planning for one receiver. So will Kirk Cousins be able to identify who that is and be able to target the other guy?
This is going to be a good game this week. I do believe that.
And even like last week, KJ Osborne was the leading receiver. So that's a good sign for Kirk Cousins spreading the ball around and not force feed him at times like we've seen him do against Seattle.
Jeff, what do you think about this game?
Who's Seattle playing again?
Minnesota in Minnesota.
Minnesota Vikings.
I don't know, man. Tough game, that Minnesota crowd in Minnesota. Listen, I didn't think Minnesota was going to be able to score points and hang with Arizona. They kind of should have won that game, I guess, really, right? This field goal.
It's so important for Minnesota to win this game, too.
And as much as Lockett's been great, I'm still waiting for a DK Metcalf breakout game.
Those are the 3 words you need to remember.
You want to know something about DK Metcalf? A lot of people like DK, and he did look good his first full season of football. I don't know what DK Metcalf is. Tyler Lockett has done it year in and year out for the last 5 years.
Know what he is.
I don't know what he is.
He's a top-end wide receiver.
Why? Because he had one good season. He's a top end. He had one great last year.
I think he gets better each year.
The year before that, his first season was okay. He was okay. Last year, he was
a better route runner than when he got in the league. His hands are his hands.
I'm telling you right now, teams are figuring out DK Metcalf.
And he's also another one, too, that kind of like Mike Evans did recently, not as much earlier in his career, but recently, sometimes there's some games he just disappears. And I think Metcalf's kind of getting that mold.
Yeah, DK Metcalf, I don't think is a great route runner. I think he's great.
Better.
He's not.
But that was a weakness coming in. If you're going to end up being a top receiver,
getting better? He's looked. If you look at his first two,
he's been better
in his first two games. Has he looked good?
No, but that's not the game plan allowing it.
What do you mean?
It's not that he hasn't looked good. He's not getting opportunities because Russell Wilson is throwing 80-yard bombs to Lockett every time.
If we look
it's hard for you to put
Russell
up numbers.
Wilson is the best player on that team, and Russell Wilson will create where the offense goes. Minnesota has no chance in this football game.
Okay.
They have no chance.
I can't wait until you.
I wouldn't say no chance. Their games are always close.
Dalvin Cook will make it interesting. But I do not think Seattle is
You
losing
watch.
this
You're
football game.
completely wrong. You're completely
Well,
wrong.
that's because you want Dalvin Cook for fantasy reasons.
No,
But in
it
the
has nothing
real
to do with
world,
it. It has nothing to do
Seattle
with
will win this football
For
game.
you to say that they have
Seattle
no
will win
chances
the
at
football
jump.
game.
Yes, they might win the
No
season,
shit,
but not by
Sherlock.
much.
It's 50-50. Everyone's got a chance. That's why you play the game. But
You said they don't
realistically-
have a chance.
Okay, now we got to be literal. So there's about a 28% chance, I think, the Vikings win this football game. Because you go against Kirk Cousins. It's a big-time game. Mike Zimmer's on his way out the door. And Kirk Cousins is yet to show me he can do anything in big time.
Really? Did you miss that pass against the Saints?
It was a push-off. But, hey,
it wasn't a push-off.
It wasn't a push-off.
DK Metcalf, by the way, had seven looks, or 7 or 8 looks. No, I'm sorry, 11 targets, 6 catches. He had as many he had as many targets as Tyler Lockett. So that's a crock of
and
you
who
know
played
what.
who?
What are you talking about?
Who they
played
play
who?
last week?
What do you mean who they play last
Who did
week?
Seattle play last week?
They played Tennessee.
Okay,
they had the same targets, the same amount of targets.
All right.
Him and Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is just playing better.
Also pulling up some of his numbers from last year. DK Metcalf also had 5 games last year where he had less than 50 yards too. So, like I said,
He's
kind of
not
like
a good route runner.
Kind of like
I
a Mike Evans. He's a
understand.
big-bodied receiver that sometimes disappears, and that's I think keeping him from being in that top tier.
But is that really disappearing though? When you have so many good players on the team, and he spreads the ball around like. You know, it's like the Buccaneers. They got Godwin and Evans.
Well,
Like,
they do
trade
now,
off-
but I'm
they
saying
trade off big
for the most
games.
part in his
Jeff,
career,
I'm not
though.
saying that. By the way, I'm not saying DK Metcalf can't be a star in this league. But again, we don't know what DK Metcalf is yet. We really don't. And he had one unbelievable season last year. We had 1,400 yards and what was it? 10 touchdowns.
Yep.
10 touchdowns. Let's see him do it back-to-back years before we say he's an elite wide
His
receiver.
rookie year was
He
pretty
is
damn
not. No, it wasn't elite. It wasn't like it was last year.
It was pretty damn good.
Oh,
And
okay.
if he gets better each year, what else could you ask the man to do?
Again, we don't know what he might be taking a step back this year.
900
Who knows?
yards, 7 touchdowns on 58 catches his rookie year. His catch percentage, though,
That's
was only
pretty good.
58, and I think that's what Errol's referring to with the targets.
58.
58 for a catch rate? That's not great, I wouldn't
Well,
say.
also, you don't know what that catch rate is on passes thrown
Listen,
to him.
I
what was
like
his drop.
again.
He doesn't drop a ton of balls, so
No,
I can't imagine.
no, he doesn't.
I
Right.
like
So
DK Metcalf.
Russell Wilson might have overthrew him. He might have underthrew him. We don't know. That catch rate's bullshit.
I like DK Metcalf, but before you say he's an elite wide
He's
receiver,
a top-end
which
receiver, I said.
he
Never
is-
said the word elite.
He's not even the best wide receiver on his team.
It alternates each week.
Tyler Lockett is the best wide receiver on
Right
that team.
now,
Tyler Lockett was pretty damn good last year.
I
He had
understand.
1,200 yards.
Right now,
and what,
Tyler
12
Lockett's the hot
touchdowns?
hand. DK Metcalf will get hot, and there'll be weeks everyone goes, oh, well, maybe it's not
Honestly,
Lockett.
the best wide receiver on that team is Tyler Lockett. He's
For
the best
God's
route
sakes,
runner.
Freddie Swain had a freaking big catch.
He is the best route runner on that team by
Dude, get
far.
this guy off my team.
I'm sorry?
Sorry.
What is your bet tonight that you're now getting annoyed about?
Dude, like fucking Chase Bryce can't fucking complete a pass. He's fucking terrible. And Appalachian State's getting their dicks kicked in. Like, dude, get this guy off my fucking team.
Who are they playing tonight?
Marshall.
Oh, jeez.
This is the game of the week, ladies
Marshall's
and
gonna
gentlemen.
put up points.
No,
too.
they were good last year. I like the way they played.
This is the game of the week, ladies and gentlemen. The Buccaneers versus the Rams in LA. This is going to be a very fun game on Fox. Must-see TV. The Rams with Matthew Stafford. This is going to be his biggest test. And if the Rams believe that they're a Super Bowl contender this year with their new quarterback, and by the way, Matthew Stafford did not look good last week. He didn't. He looked all right. He was good, but he wasn't. When we talk about elite, he didn't look like the elite quarterback that he looked like in his first week. So going into this game, you're home. You're the home team. The Buccaneers that have played pretty easy football. This is also the Buccaneers' biggest test to date right now with week number 3. So
I'm not saying much. They played the Cowboys.
I understand that. So let me just finish up with this, and then I'm going to let you guys cut in. I think that Matthew Stafford has a very good chance to right on national TV to show people what this kid could do against Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady, obviously, a lot of people are picking the Buccaneers to win this game, but because I believe it's in LA, I really believe the edge is going to go to the Rams. I think the Rams have the better front seven. I think they're the better all-around defensive team with Ramsey and obviously Donald. This defense, the LA Rams defense in the last 2 weeks, they haven't looked elite. But as the season progressed, like last year, their defense got better. And I believe that as the season progresses, they're going to get better. And they only get better against the better competition that they play against. So I think this is going to be a really, really fun game. This is the game of the week.
Yeah, and I think the Rams have the one advantage where Tampa really hasn't gotten it going on the ground yet, where the Rams, even though Henderson hasn't been phenomenal, he's been efficient, where they've gotten a more balanced attack. Matthew Stafford's obviously been the best player on that team, and Cooper Kupp's too, probably right with Lockett as the best performance receiver this year with the deep routes that he's been running as well. So I think, and the Rams also beat him last year too, so it proves they have somewhat of an identity with that kind of team. Now, obviously, a new defensive coordinator, they're going back to a lot of different concepts now. But in addition to Jalen Ramsey, Darius Williams, don't sleep on him too, has really been a really good corner the last 2 years. So it's not going to be as easy even for the secondary receivers of the Buccaneers to get it going either. Brady spread the ball around nicely, and Gronk's probably had the best year of all the targets so far.
What?
What are you giggling about?
I don't know. Brett Favre was throwing a temper tantrum in the bathroom. It looks funny.
I think if they're gonna win the game, they're gonna have to use it more in the whole field rather than just the red zone too. Because the Rams, if there's any weakness with that defense, it's maybe the middle of the field because they have younger safeties and linebackers.
You're still talking?
So I think that'll be the biggest X factors:
Christ.
running backs and tight ends for Tampa.
Well, the good thing about Speedy is we want to go in the ins and the outs of the game. You just say, well, this team's going to win. You talk two or three
Because by the
sentences.
time you two are done talking for 10 minutes, there's really nothing else to say.
Really? That's why you cut in. That's why you're a part of the show. You sitting there with your finger up your ass, which
Well,
you
no,
do
my fingers are on
90%.
the table.
Your fingers up your ass. You're sitting there, have your hands over your head. Well,
I don't have my hands over my head. They're on the table.
Cut into the conversation instead of sitting on your ass and doing nothing. Okay,
Well,
I told you to cut in. I know. I told you to. I told you to cut in, but you don't cut in.
So here's the beautiful part, right? I'm assuming you both picked LA because I don't both out.
Yeah, I did.
All right,
It's
great.
kind of Rams close game.
So
type thing.
this is where I'm just gonna say this right now.
It's
I
not
think
even
Tampa Bay is
close.
gonna.
Not
No, it'll
even
be close.
close.
It'll be close. It's probably the best game we'll have all season. I think Tom Brady's gonna go out there and win this game by himself. Not by himself in the sense of like they all play bad and Brady wills the team. Tom Brady will absolutely tear this defense apart. Tear it apart. Jalen Ramsey is going to be on Mike Evans, right? Mike Evans at this point this season's just been a complete decoy. They haven't really looked down. They really haven't done much of anything. And who's going to catch up with Chris Godwin? I'll wait.
That's why I said Darius Williams. He's played very well.
He may have played very well. And then all right, so let's say they contain Godwin. No one stopped Gronk yet this year.
Okay, but
Gronk that is all right then. So,
Gronk's
and I disagree with you 100%. I think Leonard Fournette will have a pretty good game. So I think Tampa Bay will win this football game. It'll be close.
Good luck trying to run against that front seven.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald
No,
has
that
a
front
lot.
seven.
Yeah,
That front seven. That
Donald.
all around front seven. Not just Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald and then Leonard Floyd. Now name somebody else.
What are you talking about?
Ashawn
Their
Robinson.
front seven. Their front seven in the last 2 years has been elite, top end. And by the way, what were they ranked in run defense last year? Second in the league. Okay, and this is the same front seven they've been the last 3 years. So I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler. Leonard Fournette is not going to be able to run against his defense. They're going to have to throw the ball. That's what they're going to have to do.
He will have a efficient day.
Okay,
so that seems to be the going.
Now, what's efficient? Tell me what efficient is for Leonard Fournette.
15 carries, 80 yards.
That's efficient.
He'll get 15 carries.
That's efficient.
They're going to have to.
That's efficient.
They're going to have to. They're going to run the ball in the first half, and then Tom Brady will air it out in the second half.
Interesting.
So, Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I like the Southern Patriots, it's hard to pick against the Rams in this game. At home, they're kind of on a roll. Tampa didn't look very good against Atlanta. They had some holes. I can really see, the Rams pulling this game out. Cooper Kupp's been elite
He's
so far this year.
sensational. I mean, he was a 4th-round draft pick. What a great pick, man. Sensational player.
Yeah, he's been great. So, I can really see the Rams pulling this game out. So I would pick the Rams in this game. But it's nothing against the Southern Patriots. They're a great team. But I just, how many games are they got? No one's going undefeated. It's so you got to pick against them eventually, right? This could be the game.
San Francisco and Green Bay. I think this is the best Sunday night football game we've seen so far in an early season. I think this is going to be a very close game. And when you talk about Green Bay and San Francisco, everybody knows that Aaron Rodgers grew up a San Francisco 49ers fan. And over the years that there were people always thinking that eventually Aaron Rodgers was going to go to the 49ers. But this, with Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Garoppolo has not looked good all season long. Okay,
He looked good week 1.
He really hasn't. In
He
my
looked
eyes,
awful last week. He looked good week 1.
fine. That's your opinion. It's not mine. I didn't think he looked very good in the first 2 games of the season. Jimmy's going to lose his job, and with the Packers, I think that Aaron Rodgers. Yes, they played the Lions. Yes, he threw four touchdowns for 260 yards or whatever it was. Aaron Rodgers, I want to see him play against a good defense and beat a very good defense. The 49ers are a top-end defense. If Aaron Rodgers goes into San Francisco and knocks off the 49ers, I think the Packers are considerably back. And I want to hear from other people saying that the Packers and Aaron Rodgers aren't a dangerous team and that they're not a playoff contending team. I believe they are. I think he's going to go into San Francisco and knock off the 49ers.
All right, before I get to mine, I'll just read some of the comments. Snug says, are the Vikings the new Chargers of being non-clutch? You can say they're the NFC version of that. Speedy, do I play Cousins or Baker Mayfield? If Lamar can't go, he's one of my starters. I would still play Cousins because I think that'll be a shootout game. Haha, Tyler says DK Metcalf is 3 words. Snug says
DK Metcalf.
No, it's DK. It's abbreviated his name, and it's DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf.
DK is one name.
Right, but it's DK Metcalf.
I never heard an abbreviated name as being that, but okay. Snug says the goat is looking amazing for the Bucs so far. Favre throwing a tantrum in the bathroom does sound funny.
Oh, it was hysterical.
And the Beef says, what do you think about the rumors with Richard Sherman possibly going there? Are you referring to the 49ers? Because he's been rumored they're all back there all off.
No. I don't think it was the 49ers.
Beef, comments who you're referring to.
Tampa. I think it was Tampa.
Okay. Tampa's an interesting one, though, too. That's some more
got no shot at going there.
Yeah, and there was rumors coming out that it was Tampa Bay has reached out to his agent and that they're interested in bringing in Richard Sherman, which, again, Tampa is a ready win now. No, not Tampa.
No,
who?
Tampa.
No, Tampa.
I think you know he was talking to me. He's saying Tampa.
No, that's what I thought because there was stories coming out that Tampa was interested in Richard Sherman. They reached out to his agent last weekend. Him going over there, I think Jeff is right. I don't think there's any shot that he goes to Tampa Bay.
There's a shot. It depends on one phone call.
I don't.
If Brady says yes, they do it. If Brady says no, they won't.
You think he has that much control?
Also not how that works.
Yeah, I don't know how much defensive personnel he has control.
I understand, but they brought in AB. I get it, offense, defense. I understand what you guys are saying. He is the leader of that team. He's the captain of that team. And quite frankly, they've been listening to Tom Brady about personnel. Basically,
you need to get your head out of his ass.
Though. How much on defense
what do you mean?
Does he have control of that?
Why do you think he went there?
Your head
he went
is
there
so far
because he was going to get control of not control, but he was going to have input on who they brought in.
Yeah, offensively, not defensively. He has nothing to do with the defense.
He has a say.
No, he doesn't.
You're insane.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he would.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
If they said, "Hey, Tom, what do you think about Sherman?"
Guaranteed.
After a huge
offseason,
they'll
ask him that. He has no. There's no way.
If Tom Brady says no,
has
they won't
anything to do with the defense. Nothing.
You just said they might do it.
Yeah, they'll ask him because he's a captain. That doesn't mean they're going to listen to him.
Hey, Tom, what do you think? Yeah.
What are the What are the chances that Richard Sherman signs for $400,000?
Not happening.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Right. Well, then there's a cap space.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another factor to that. Carl
he might do it if he wants to win a ring.
Carl asks, whatever happened with Richard Sherman's personal family situation?
It was done. It's done. Everything, it was waived out of court. His wife, obviously, what's the word? She's not pressing charges on him.
Drop the charges.
She dropped the charges on him, so it's over. I'm wondering if he's going to get another spot after that happened. We've seen this over, and we all know his old tag team partner in the Legion of Boom.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen him come back after what happened with him and his wife.
Right.
So
if he's got a DV charge, he can always go to the Yankees bullpen.
All right, so we're Packers 49ers. So this is an interesting one. The 49ers, we know, have owned the Packers for years, especially with their running game. The question is, can they do it with a bunch of rookie running backs now with all the injuries that they have? I believe Elijah Mitchell is coming back this week, but he's still listed as questionable. Trey Sermon listed as questionable as well. So again, these are new breakout guys. I still like their matchups over the middle, though, with George Kittle against the Packers that are weak over the middle of the field. The question is, how will they manage those receivers? Brandon Ayuk has struggled so far. Deebo Samuel's been great, but will he get Jair Alexander attention? And will Kyle Shanahan be able to move these guys around? And that's what's going to make it very interesting for the Niners. Also, I think those guys could run out of the backfield a lot with those running back injuries. And then on the Packers offensive side, if they shut down, if the 49ers decide to shut down Aaron Jones because they have a good run defense, will they be able to still be able to win the game that way?
They're not going to be able to shut down Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that's going to make it a one-dimensional team where Aaron Rodgers, I think, will play well. But again, will they have a complete offense as a whole? Because the Niners pass rush is still very strong.
Jeff, what do you think about the 49ers in Green Bay?
Yeah, really a coin toss game, right? I can see this going either way. Both teams have the ability to be great, and both teams have the ability to lay the occasional egg, right? We saw that week 1 with Green Bay, and San Francisco hasn't looked all that great. But for me, this is just going to be if I had to pick a team for me, I'm just picking the team with the better quarterback, and that's clearly Green Bay.
And I would agree with you. I think if it's a coin flip, I'm going to go with the better quarterback, and I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. And again, I don't. Tyler says that week 1 he had a good week 1. Jimmy Garoppolo might lose his job. I don't even care if he's 3-0 or 4-0. If Jimmy's not, Jimmy is not the reason why this team is 2-0.
Right,
it's not.
I didn't say his job. I said
defense,
he had a good okay week 1,
and their running game. Even though they lost Mostert for the whole season, this is still a very good running team, and they're going to be able to run the ball. So I don't think I'm telling you, Jimmy's going to lose his job one way or another.
What if he loses the job and Trey Lance blows up?
I believe
Trey
that
Lance
could happen.
go in that game and turn it up.
That could happen. Absolutely could happen.
That's very possible. I like San Francisco to walk out.
Monday Night Football, the Cowboys, and the Eagles.
See, this is the game of the week.
Why do you think it's the game of the week? I want to hear this.
How many times do you get to see elite running back Tony Pollard play?
Now, you know what's interesting with Tony Pollard and the Dallas Cowboys? Now, Ezekiel Elliott, as much as people are taking shots at Ezekiel Elliott, he hasn't had a very bad season. Last week, he had 80 yards, 1 touchdown. The week number 1, I think he had 1 touchdown. He had 65 yards. He's not having.
It's easy to rack up trash time yards when elite running back Tony Pollard is doing all the heavy lifting during the important parts of the game.
Well, not only that, Tampa Bay.
He had 33 yards rushing the first game, 71 and a touchdown on 16 carries in the second game. And he also had 2 catches for 26 yards in the second game as well.
Right, so there you go. So his 2 games equal 1 Tony Pollard game.
He has 104 yards, 3.9 yards per carry, which is not bad in average
That's
NFL.
not top 10 running back.
What are you talking about? That's not bad. He had 30 yards and then 65 yards. If that were any other running back, you'd be calling him garbage. But because you're covering for that slob the bee, you're going to go, oh, that's not bad. No. First of all, Tony Pollard had that kind of numbers in one
I'm not
game.
saying that Tony Pollard hasn't played better than Ezekiel Elliott. But for a guy averaging 3.9 yards, a carry, an average NFL running back averages 3.5. So 3.9 is not bad. That's almost 4. That's almost 4 yards per carry. Okay, that's not bad. But obviously, Pollard is right now running the ball, and I'm going to tell you this right now: he is. They're going to give the ball more to Ezekiel Elliott against the Philadelphia Eagles because he always
they want to win.
He's always played well against the Philadelphia Eagles as a running back. So I think you're going to see a breakout game for Ezekiel Elliott. I don't know what Ezekiel Elliott is anymore. He's highly paid, obviously.
He's $1 million a fumble is what he is.
But what do you guys think? Speedy, what do you think about this game?
I'm actually with Jeff on this one. I think if the Cowboys are going to win this game, it's going to have to be through with more of a Tony Pollard and the kind of slot area passing attack because the Eagles front has been actually very good this year. I thought with the loss of Jim Schwartz, I thought it would be a lot harder for them, but they've actually played very well so far against a San Francisco offensive line that's pretty good. And then against an Atlanta offense.
Cowboys are going to blow the Eagles out in this game.
I don't know if it's a blowout. I think it's kind of like that weird NFC East game that's kind of sloppy. I think it'll actually be more lower scoring than people think, but I think the Cowboys will win just because the Eagles' secondary depth outside of Darius Slay
no way the Eagles are going to keep up with the Cowboys offense. And the Eagles, Jalen Hurts looked terrible last week. He looked good week number 1. He looked terrible last week. And if you're going to play that way, look at the way Dak Prescott's played back-to-back weeks. If he plays, and I believe Dak Prescott is going to, with that offense, now they did lose Gallup for a significant amount of time. That does hurt him. But Gallup really, out of the 2 wide receivers in CeeDee Lamb, by the way, Beav, what do you think about him now? Okay. CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, who Amari Cooper is also coming off an injury.
I don't want him, no. I want to see.
Amari Cooper, too, who's also coming off an injury in game number 2. He is going to be playing in this game, but I don't know how healthy Amari Cooper is. This team is still a very good offensive team, even without Gallup. And I believe they're going to be able to score against the Eagles. If the Eagles can't keep up offensively with the Cowboys, and it is in Dallas, I don't think the Eagles stand a chance in this game.
Yeah, the Cooper injury, I think, is a big reason why I think it will end up being closer, though, just because
Cooper's playing in the game.
CeeDee Lamb, I think, will be the guy.
Gallup is not.
Okay. No, I understand that, but I'm saying in terms of, 1, the target share, and 2, the rotation with Darius Slay, who's played very well for Philly so far, like he was supposed to when they traded for him, that CeeDee Lamb will end up getting more attention for that because of that reason. And their run defense, too, has still been very good, steadily good with that front 4. And like Jeff was saying, Ezekiel Elliott still has not been very efficient. He's had some good games against the Eagles in his career, but it's not the majority of them. So I think it will be close. I think Dallas will win, just a little more primetime experience as well, especially with Jalen Hurts being a newer quarterback.
Speedy couldn't be more right. Elite running back Tony Pollard will carry this.
Yeah, I can see him having a good game, especially receiving, too. I could see him having a good game.
By the way,
right.
Reed
That's the other thing. It's not just the rushing yards of Tony Pollard. He's got some catches in there, out of the backfield that are really helping him too.
Ben says Green Bay over San Francisco payback, and Snook says, what if the Niners trade Garoppolo?
Ben is also a Green Bay Packer fan, so of course he's going to pick Green Bay. He'll pick Green Bay in every single one of the games.
That's true. I don't think he's.
I've never seen him pick against the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so of course he's going to say Green Bay. But I still think Green Bay, because they have the better quarterback.
You have Green Bay close. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I think Green Bay.
I think Tyler has Niners close, and I have Niners close. So
are you telling me? Are you telling me that Ben is the Beeve of Green Bay?
I would say that Ben is heavily a homer with the Green Bay Packers.
Well, yeah, he has yet to say that Aaron Jones could run on Barry Sanders' offensive line yet.
So. No, he never said that. He never said that. Thank God he never said that.
We're at least safe in that.
That scared the hell out of me. All right, so obviously we're gonna go to the 2 New York teams for the final picks of the week, and then we're gonna go into the top. We're gonna argue the points on the top teams of the 21st century and who we think is the greatest team in the last 21 years. So with the Jets, okay, this obviously it's a 425 or 405 start in Denver. The Jets over the years has played very good in Denver. I don't know what this Jets team is, and they can't get to the quarterback. They have no pass rush, which it has definitely affected them defensively. Now their defense has been pretty good this year with the rookies that they started. Their corners they've played very, very well. Bryce Hall, go look how many times he's been targeted this year. He's played a lot better than people have thought that he was going to be. And again. The Jets have not had one piece of running in any one of these games. You name them, Johnson, you name even Michael Carter, any one of these guys, none of them have run the ball sufficiently. If they don't run the ball efficiently, they don't stand a chance in this game against the Broncos. Because if they're going to be throwing the ball and they're going to try to air the ball out against the Broncos, they don't stand a chance in this game. They have to control the clock. They're going to have to run the ball, and this offensive line has to wake up. If that happens, and by the way, Zach Wilson, he needs to learn how to throw the ball away. When he gets into trouble, when the team gets into the pocket, like they've done week in and week out the last 2 weeks against the Jets, throw the ball away. Don't force the ball down the field. If he does that, and I want to see Denzel Mims in this game. This is ridiculous that Denzel Mims is not playing. I want to see him in this. In this game. I think he can absolutely help Zach Wilson in this game, especially airing the ball out when he wants to throw the ball down the field. But a 6'2", 6'3" guy that can run a 4.3 is definitely a weapon to use. So I don't know who's going to win this game. Obviously I'm moving toward Denver winning this game because it is in Denver. I think the game will be close all the way into the fourth quarter. I don't trust the young rookie in a close game. I still think when it comes to Teddy Bridgewater and this defense, I think the Broncos are still the better defense. So
I'm very confused by your take here. Like I'm struggling to follow your logic. Mm-hmm. You're telling me Michael Carter hasn't run the ball well?
No.
Really? Yes. He's averaging 4.3 yards a carry, and you just told me Zeke at 3.6 is very good.
How many yards does he run a game? You just said it yourself.
It's
How
not
many
his
yards?
fault they're not giving him it's not his fault they're not giving him the ball. He's running for 4.3 yards a carry. And you just told me Zeke Elliott.
That's right. And you just told me he's a bum. So what are you talking about? You just told me Ezekiel Elliott is a bum.
No.
Did you not say that?
No, but I'm trying to follow retard logic, right? And you think 3.6 is very good, but 4.3 is terrible.
Do you know where the Jets are ranked running the ball? They're ranked 28th in the league.
So blame
that's
the coaches.
horrendous.
So blame the coaches, not Michael Carter, because Michael Carter is averaging 4.3 yards a carry, and you're calling him a
That's
bum.
great.
But you're holding
That's great. I just told you.
Get out of here, you dummy.
Yeah, I'm a dummy. You're the one who just told me Ezekiel Elliott is not running the ball well when he runs at 3.9 yards, and you just said that was normal. And then when I say Michael Carter. When I said Michael Carter has not run the ball very well because he has had the touches and he has not run the ball very well. He's had 10 touches in a game.
I can say Michael Carter isn't very good, right? But you can't because he's outperforming a guy you said was doing very well.
Okay, so you're going to sit here and tell me you just told me Ezekiel Elliott is having a bad season. When he is. Yeah. Okay. Yes. And what makes you think that Michael Carter Jr. in the first 2 games is having a great? Because he's running 4.4.
No.
4.3 yards a carry.
I'm not the one saying he is having a good year. Your argument is Michael Carter's a bum, and he averages basically.
I did not call him a bum.
Elliott, you just said.
Speedy, did you hear me call Michael Carter?
Year.
Did you hear me call Michael Carter a bum?
No, you didn't say bum.
I didn't call him a bum. I said the Jets running game.
They haven't had a stitcher running.
Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? I just told you the Jets running game is ranked 28th or 29th in the league. That is not good, and that's what I'm telling you. And if they're not going to go.
Hold on. They go by overall numbers. So yeah. Blame the coaches, blame the play calling because they're not getting the ball into the hands of guys that are running the ball well. Michael Carter's not running it terribly. He's just not getting the touches.
Okay, he's had 20 touches for 65 yards. Yeah, great.
Also,
it's
judge
15 touches for 65 yards.
Also, judge the expectation. Ezekiel Elliott's supposed to be a top-end running back, not elite, but a top-end running back. Whereas Michael Carter's a rookie.
First of all, Ezekiel Elliott, nobody now thinks Ezekiel Elliott is an elite running back. Nobody. Okay, I haven't heard anybody say that Ezekiel Elliott is.
Get the beef to weigh in. He thinks he's better than Barry Sanders.
And by the way, he probably thought that when he had those 3 or 4 really good years in the beginning of his career. He has fallen off. Zeke hasn't stayed healthy, but Zeke hasn't been a top 10 running back in like 3 years.
Listen. If Zeke is better than Barry Sanders, then goddamn Tony Pollard is Walter Payton.
I'm just saying, regardless of where you rank him, I'm just saying the expectation is still higher for Zeke than it is for Michael Carter. So I think that's probably why it's magnified a lot more, him having 3.9 yards a carry in comparison to the 4.3 that Carter has.
I get it. This is my point is, I did say Zeke wasn't having a good year, right? But you said that he was. Okay, so if you think 3.5 or 3.6 is good, 4.3 is better, and now you're going, he's not running the ball very well.
I said the Jets. All right. I will clean up what I say to shut you the fuck up, okay? Okay, 4.3 yards. Great for Michael Carter. The Jets are still ranked 28th or 29th in running, okay? Their defense, their running game is terrible, okay? And if they're going to go into Denver and they expect to win, they got to run the ball. Okay, and they're not going to be able to run the ball.
The other part that's tough with that ranking, especially this early in the year, second week, right? We've only played 2 games. So the other part with the Jets being ranked 28th is maybe they'd have, because they go by rushing yards, and maybe they'd have more rushing yards if Zach Wilson wasn't handing the ball to the other team on every throw.
Well, they also are been behind in games a lot, too. That's going to contribute to overall rushing yards, too, because you're not going to throw the ball.
They're behind in games because Zach Wilson keeps handing the ball to the other team. So it's hard to get rushing yards because that's how they develop the rank is the total amount of rushing yards.
Sure.
It's hard to rack up rushing yards if you don't have the football.
Well, they were also down in the first game, too, where Zach Wilson wasn't playing great, but he wasn't the only reason. They were trying to run the ball in that game, too, because the 49ers offense that they brought, obviously not carbon copy, but it's more of a running offense. So they tried that in the beginning of the game too with the 49ers, with the Panthers game.
Well, after all that, Denver will win the football game. It'll be close. I'm so sick of hearing the word Jets on this freaking show. So I'm not even going to mention them. I'm not even going to say a word. Denver will win this football game. Denver has the advantage. And Brandon McManus is honestly going to be the X factor in this game. Because I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be pretty much low scoring. And Teddy Bridgewater might even win it with his legs. But remember the name Brandon McManus.
Giants game.
Never seen someone highlight a kicker so seriously.
I'm just so sick of hearing about green teams and orange teams. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of hearing the Cowboys. I'm sick of hearing the Jets. I'm over it. It's like a 2-hour friggin' topic every time. It's like, leave him alone. He said something. Let's move on now. The Giants are
we've talked about the Jets maybe 5 minutes in the show today. So I don't know what you're talking about, and we've talked about it. Tyler, you need to get your head out of your ass because
Last night we talked about Zach Wilson for 2 hours
because you brought him up over and over and over again in conversation. Yes, she did, Tyler. Go listen to the show again. Listen to the show again because everybody that was listening to the show heard you bring him up every time I had something to say about Daniel Jones or some other quarterback. You brought up Zach Wilson and the Jets. You do this all the time. All right, Giants and Falcons. This is the game. Honestly, I think that the Giants are going to win this game. It's going to be close, and I think the Falcons will keep it close because I think the Giants' defense in the first 2 games has not been up to par of what we've seen this team in the first year of Ramsey's and Judge's first year with the Giants. Obviously, second year, I was expecting this defense to take I thought they were going to play better, and they haven't played better. And I want to see this Giants defense actually show up on Sunday at 1:00 on Fox against this Falcons team, a very bad Falcons team that stayed in the game against Tampa and scored points against Tampa. If the Giants let Tampa stay and let the Falcons stay in this game, the Giants might lose this game. I do believe the Giants are going to win this game, but the Falcons are still a good offensive team.
I'm with you. I think it'll be a close, high-scoring game. I'm going to take the Giants, though, too, because I think when you look at the Falcons' secondary depth, they just really don't have much. And the Giants, even though their receivers aren't anything special, they still have different options they go to. We've seen Shepard play well. We know Galladay has been capable of having big games. And again, long week to prepare, too. I think the same thing with Washington. I think that'll end up giving them an advantage. On the Falcons side, I do think this is going to be the coming out party for Kyle Pitts, I think, because the Giants' middle of the field and their slot corners, whoever's going to be guarding him, because he can move around all over the place, has been rough. Bradbury will be on Ridley. I think they'll each get their own in that game, but I think Kyle Pitts will be the reason Atlanta stays in this game. But I think the Giants have just too much when it comes to the rest of their overall defense still being strong. The game is in New York, so I think they'll win, like Errol was saying, kind of a high-scoring shootout. And Daniel Jones, I think, will play well again against a bad defense.
I agree with everything you just said. Just remember, Logan Ryan in Tennessee covered a lot of tight ends. So let's calm down with that. The Giants, I think, will win this game defensively. I don't think offensively it's going to be very high scoring at all. Saquon might have a little bit more touches, but this is the week that you guys see what Saquon's got. If Saquon doesn't at least get 4.8 yards carried today on Sunday, Giant fans need to hit a panic button because then there's a problem. But the Giants should win this football game, but the Giants always lose games they should win and vice versa. So we'll see. But Matt Ryan's calling card in Atlanta is pretty much here.
Looking that way. Ben says he solidifies, yes, he doesn't think Aaron Jones is better than Barry Sanders. He says not even close. Good job, Ben. At least you're not on the beef train with that. Carl says Jim Schwartz was like 21-50 with the lie downs, but did get them to a playoff game. Snug says LMAO 4.3 is so bad, but 3.9 is killing it. Well, the beef may disagree. Well, if their running game might improve, they might give the ball to Carter more. Carl says Speedy, where's the dump button on Errol? Nah, I'm not going to do that. The beef says don't do the show. And Snug says I feel so bad for Kyle Pitts. The Falcons are a rotten way to experience the NFL. Yeah, they're looking like the worst team performance-wise for 2 weeks.
Who are you talking about?
The Falcons.
Yeah, but the Falcons, everybody expected the Falcons not to be a good team. And you could shut the music.
You're also forgetting they almost beat Tampa last week.
They did. And they were in that game. If the Falcons defense wasn't as bad as they looked in the second half of the game, or they were anywhere close to what they were when they went to the Super Bowl, Tampa loses that game. I think Atlanta.
Matt Ryan also gave him 14 points.
That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about.
Not really. The offensive line batted that ball straight up in the air and just happened to fall.
Well, the quarterback threw it where the offensive line's headman was at.
He was trying to throw it away and couldn't because Carlton Davis made a great play on the ball.
The Falcons look good offensively, and everybody keeps saying Matt Ryan's career is over. Matt Ryan could go, even if it's not with the Falcons, he's going to go as a veteran to another team. He's going to be he could be a guy that could go right in with, like, I'm just saying, San Francisco and help them win a championship. Remember,
He's not going to San Francisco.
I know he's not going. I know that. But if Jimmy Garoppolo, if they decide to drop Jimmy Garoppolo next year, and they're going to
go with Trey Lance,
yes,
they'll go with the guy they drafted third,
and Shanahan will bring in. He could bring in Matt Ryan as the backup to help Trey Lance grow, and he knows the offense just as well as anybody because Kyle Shanahan was coaching him when they went to the Super Bowl. So I could see Kyle Shanahan bringing in Matt Ryan.
Well, why wouldn't Matt Ryan go get a starter's job?
With who?
I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a team that needs him.
The Eagles, the Dolphins,
the Dolphins,
the Broncos,
the Texans,
maybe the Vikings. Maybe, hey, listen, you want a team that could, if we're talking about next year, right? Because this is what you're doing. You're saying Matt Ryan could go somewhere next year. You better start looking at the Steelers.
Yeah, but Matt Ryan's old, just like Ben Roethlisberger. How old is Matt Ryan?
He
36?
could be a bridge gap, though.
Is he 36?
He's 39.
3 more
He's
years.
39.
Matt Ryan?
Oh, no, Roethlisberger.
No, I think Ryan is 36.
Yeah, so he's only 3 years younger than Ben Roethlisberger.
But that gives you an extra 2-3 years to find your start.
I think Pittsburgh is going to either they're going to bring in like a younger player to fill
Haskins?
in the spot. I don't know. Haskins is not going to start next year. They're going to find somebody else, but they might draft a quarterback next year in the draft and start him. Who knows? Because they started Ben Roethlisberger as a rookie. So who's to say that they're not going to go
That's
look
fine.
for?
All you guys keep telling me is this quarterback draft class sucks.
This isn't a good quarterback draft. But again, we've pointed quarterback draft classes that weren't good and turned out to be very good draft classes.
Not only that, odds are the Steelers are not going to be drafting like in the top 5, top 8 picks where they're going to be drafting a
moved
quarterback.
up in the draft, so I'm not.
Just for Devin Bush, that was it.
And then they well, maybe.
No, they've been staying at their pick and just drafting for the most part well, but the last couple of drafts when they draft secondary players hasn't been as good. But regardless, one of those quarterbacks that may not be quote unquote top 5 overall talents still might be a good value pick later if a lot of teams are skeptical of them and the Steelers say, all right, we can coach this guy up, because they do have talented receivers, not great receivers, but talented receivers where you're not putting him in a situation
you
like
signing
we've seen
Juju?
some rookie quarterbacks.
They did. They signed him for 1 year.
Right.
Which proves
You
I think
gotta
he
sign
like
him again.
No,
which
they're not.
proves I think
Right.
They're not.
So Claypool's hit or miss. Then Deontay Johnson, all right. That's great.
But Juju's going to leave next year, don't you think?
Yes.
No, he's gone.
Right.
But my point is, you've got one consistent guy in Johnson who's not a real number one, and then you got Claypool who has one potential but never shows.
Like I said, I'm not saying there are any stars, but it's still a good core. It's not like what Josh Allen walked to in with Buffalo or Sam Darnold walked into with the Jets. It's not like something like that where it's just a god-awful receiving core. What Jared Goff had with the Rams in his first year, that was abysmal. At least they're competent receivers. I'm not saying they're great. I agree with you. Claypool is way too streaky, and Deontay Johnson's not overly skilled where he's going to stretch the field and do a lot of things. But it could still help.
They have a fourth receiver on that team that's a really very good player that doesn't get any love because
James Washington never plays.
Right, because he's got those other 3. If you let James Washington go out there and play, if Juju's not there, he's going to be very good.
Well, he's also free
James
agent
Washington's
too,
supposed to be better than Juju.
I thought so too, but he's also a free agent at the end of the year too. And the
Right.
Steelers really,
They're not going to bring him
they
back.
usually don't re-sign wide receivers outside of the one time they tried with Antonio Brown, even and Hines Ward, obviously. But they usually, even if the receiver's good or productive in that system, they let him go and they replenish him pretty well for the most part. Carl says, is Deontay Johnson hurt? Yeah, he did leave the game. I'm not sure if he came back or not, but as of right now, it's not a major injury from what I heard. So he might.
Oh, he got hurt?
Yeah, he left the game, I think, in the third quarter. In the third quarter last week.
Yeah, the Bengals are winning that football game.
Oh, I agree. Now here, man, my trade looks like a steal now, doesn't? Oh, damn.
Steelers go get Foles. Haha. Snug says Matt Ryan is ready for a clipboard career working with a young quarterback somewhere, and
That's where I think he's going to go. I think he's going
Dude,
to go.
I don't. Yeah, dude, he's Big Ben. Listen, all due respect to him, he's had a great career. Dude, he stinks right now, right? He's awful. Matt Ryan is light years ahead of where Ben Roethlisberger is, and if he's going to be a bridge quarterback for a contender, that's where it would be, right? Because Dwayne Haskins ain't the guy, Duck Hodges ain't the guy, Mason Rudolph ain't the
he's
guy.
certainly not the guy. Unless he's a punching bag for Myles Garrett. That's about it.
Well, Yeah, like none of those guys they have on that team are the guy. Dwayne Haskins ain't getting another contract. He's going to be out of the league after this contract.
Well, I wanted to get into this after we went through week number 3. I wanted to go into the last 21 years, the top teams in the 21st century. And we can go on and we can argue our points on why we think certain teams are you can put them amongst the top teams of the 21st century. So, Speedy, before I get into some of the teams that I would think and I would argue that I believe is the top team in the 21st century, is there a team that sticks out to you out of all the teams that we've seen in the last 21 years as the top team of the 21st century?
I think as a single team, 1 year, I think Tyler is right. I think Golden State is probably the obvious
it's not 1
answer.
year because
you're right.
Dominance. It's dominance for a certain amount of time.
So if you're going dominance, I think obviously the Patriots would have to be number one. You're looking at 5 Super Bowls. You're looking at all those playoff appearances. They only missed the playoffs in 2008, and I think, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, only 2 other years besides that after they won.
Yeah, they missed it a couple times. The year Brady got hurt, they missed it, and
yeah,
they
that
were
was
11 and 5. And they were 11 and 5 that year.
And they were they only lost on the playoffs on a tiebreaker. That's why I'm saying even in their bad years, they're still not god awful. And the way they recycle players well, draft well to replace those players, it seems like it's just so sustainable. Now, granted, the division week definitely elevates that, but I think 5 Super Bowls. No, you're right. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but in terms
that's a horrible excuse, because here's the other thing. You can go, they're good because they're in a weak division. Yeah, well, they put every good team in a chokehold when they get into the playoffs.
No, that's why I'm saying they're rarely ever one and done in the playoffs either. So I'm not using that as the only leverage.
I think they've only been one and done twice or something.
Yeah,
right?
the Ravens
got them, and then you want to know what I think? The Ravens might have got them
Tennessee a couple years ago.
Brady's last game.
So it might be 3 times. Yeah, it might be 3 times then.
Yeah, because the Ravens beat them in the AFC Championship game too. The Ravens won in the AFC Championship game, and then 2 years before that was the big game Ray Rice had in the playoffs against the Patriots in 2010. I think those were the only 2 that I can remember. It might have been before that too, but I'm not sure. But I would say in terms of sustainability, definitely the Patriots is one. The Spurs, another one too, that I think is the same kind of mold in the NBA.
That's one of my teams, and I do. I believe it is the Spurs, but.
Yeah, I was going to say just so much consistency. They have the longest active playoff streak for a while, where they didn't miss the playoffs since the year they drafted Tim Duncan #1 overall. The way Greg Popovich has really transformed the game in terms of developing all the European players.
I think it was 10 years of consecutive 50 or more wins.
Yeah.
Still.
And the way he develops all those European players, and we're seeing it now with how many talented European players are, that has definitely changed the game as well. Obviously, Tim Duncan's, I think, one of my top 5 players of all time, and Greg Popovich definitely a top 5 coach when judging that. Just so much sustainability. They beat so many 60-win teams in the playoffs, so many dynasty level teams that everyone thought superstar players. I think the hack a Shaq is definitely something to look at that teams have now used with Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan. Now we've talked a lot about Ben Simmons for sure.
Ben Simmons, yeah.
So Ben Simmons. Yeah, so that strategy is definitely, he's just so innovative the way he works, and just so much talent on that team. The international talent, I think, definitely has to be one. And I'll say one for the NHL. This is the last one, and we'll let someone else go. The Chicago Blackhawks, I think, for the NHL too. They've done a great job in terms of replacing players, trading for players. They have the stars, obviously, to go with it, but they make so many good trade deadline acquisitions. They're always competitive. They're always a tough out in the playoffs. There's 3 Stanley Cups. In an NHL, it's so much parity, it's very hard to win Stanley Cups. So those are my 3.
How about you, Mr. Tyler? I know you're going to say, try to go past the Patriots, because he kind of went in his outs with the Patriots.
We're doing dynasties. We're not doing 1 year.
In the last
you told me before the show was 1 year.
The 21st century, the last 21 years.
Right.
Tell me who you think, you could pick 3 teams amongst the teams that you believe are the top teams of this century.
All right. So I'll ignore all yours, so that way there's some difference on the show. You have to bring Golden State to the conversation. And forget Kevin Durant's years. They went 73-9 before Durant ever got there. And on top of that, Steph Curry alone has changed the league. Klay Thompson and him together have changed the league. Draymond Green, in his weird sort of way, has changed the league. If you cannot move the ball or shoot, there is no place for you in the NBA. You don't believe me? Jeff will get this. Ask Ben Simmons. There's no place for you in the league anymore. If you're a big man and you cannot be Joker or you cannot put up 25 and 12, there's no
Joker
spot
can
for you.
shoot, though.
That's what I'm saying. But he can also pass. So if you can't shoot, that's one thing. But you have to be able to do something offensively with the ball or you're out. And you have to be an elite level defender on top of that. That's the only reason Draymond's in the game. He's an amazing ball handler, and he's a great defender. So there's really no spot for you if you can't do that. And that's all because of Golden State and this new wave of basketball you're going to see. They're going to also probably invent a rule soon that if you shoot the ball next to half court, it's 4 or 5 points. Because this is going to become a common thing in the NBA.
No way they're going to do that.
Absolutely.
No way they're going to do that.
Absolutely. They want high-scoring games. Sorry, defense don't matter
There
anymore.
is no way they're going to add a 5-point line, a 4-point line. I don't see it happening.
I can see 4, but not 5.
No, I don't see that.
What is this? MTV Rock
No
and
way.
Jock?
They're
That's
not
never
doing
happening.
that. They're not doing that. You're both on drugs. That's not going to happen.
All right. They never thought of a 3-point line either, but guess what? They did
about?
that.
The 3-point line came out in the 70s.
Right.
It was 78
Right.
or 79.
And the NBA started in what, the 50s?
And first of all, the only reason why they
Sam Darnold, elite quarterback.
The only reason why they came out with the 3-point line, and they should have came out the 3-point line, is because there was outside the hashes. There is no way they're going to make a 4 or a 5-point line. It doesn't make any sense. That's
Why not?
crazy. It's crazy. They're not
No,
doing
because
it.
it'll ruin the game even more. People already don't like that the mid-range jumper is gone, that the post-up game is gone. They're not just going to turn it into a 3-point shooting contest and go, oh, get over
What you're
half court
talking
and shoot.
about is unfortunate that it's like the generation of us and up. For the generation below us and the kids following, they're going to love it. They're going to love it. That's what this is about. It's about transcending the game, and that's what they're doing. Sorry, you might not like it. Look at Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has took a piss on their sport. They're no longer even a top. To me, they're not even a top 3 organization anymore. They suck.
Can I make it what I think is going to be a fair comparison, Tyler? You can obviously spit on this idea if you don't think it's true, but the NBA needs to stick to what the NBA is. They can't really do something. I don't think they want to turn it into the XFL, right? Where like the XFL doesn't work because it's too goofy, it's too tricked up, it's too dumb, right? And if you start adding all these other lines, 3, 4, 5, 6 point circles where we're shooting for cheerleaders, you know what I'm saying? Like, at what point does the NBA become basketball's XFL?
They're not doing it.
Well, also too, to remember when the 3-point line first came into the league, it was a newer concept. There wasn't as many long range shooters at that time. The best players in the NBA were mostly a lot of big men. There were great point guards, obviously, at that time, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, guys like that. But most of them were great players. Now you're seeing it's not just Steph Curry that could shoot long threes anymore. Now Trae Young's
doing it.
Trae Young's doing it. You see Damian Lillard doing it. All
You
these
better
guys.
throw Luka's name in there.
Luka does it.
Doncic, right. So you're seeing a lot more of these guys that are being developed that way. So if you add it from a strategy standpoint, a different challenge in that game too, it could definitely make it interesting. And like Tyler says, offense puts fans in the seats. So definitely you can see all these 150-point games now too.
Dude, a
with the shots
Chuba
that they can
Hubbard
make.
Dude, a Chuba Hubbard touchdown right now will get me $1,300 if fucking Chuba Hubbard gets in the end zone. I parlayed it with the over on Sam Darnold passing yards and the over on more receiving yards. Dude, Chuba Hubbard gets in the end zone here. I'm going to go bananas.
Granted, it's the Texans, but I did not actually think he would be very good in the NFL. He's looked very good in this game.
You know, it's so funny because obviously Tristan McCaffrey getting hurt. Hubbard's going to touch the ball.
No. Leave him in the backfield.
Oh.
Throw it to him. No, he dropped it. Oh!
And there's $1,300.
Now you
dropping
get
out
the
of Jeff's hands.
Now you just have to get the chance on the run because that's more of his skills anyway.
The two teams that really stick out to me in the 21st century is the San Antonio Spurs, which Speedy kind of cut in and used.
Oh, he's on the bench. Put him in the game.
Who's they going to put it instead? Who's their third guy?
Obviously, Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, now they're going big package. You're going to hand it off? No. Come on, Texans D. Come on, tough D. Tough D. Stopped.
Manu Ginobili, obviously. Tony Parker, one of the most underrated point guards in all of football. I mean, all of basketball. You see, I'm all over the place because these guys are talking about football. But I think that when you talk about the San Antonio Spurs and what San Antonio did with obviously Tim Duncan and that great defensive style of game. I mean, one of the greatest coaches of all time. I think that what they did in such a long period of time was sensational. Also, the Miami Heat with obviously Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen, LeBron James, Chris Bosh. That team was a very efficient team, very dynamic and dominating team for the 3 or 4 years that they were together. So, or 5 years that they were together. So I also would put Miami there because Miami was a championship competitive team. And that was one of the best built teams we've ever seen in NBA kind of put a team ever put together. So that was another team. Also another team, and I know the Patriots, but in football, another team that really stands out to me is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers in the 21st century, I think they've won 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. And with it's not going to happen, Jeff. It's not happening. What do you say? No.
Sam Darnold stealing all the rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, well,
there's still time in the game, Jeff.
There's only 4 minutes left, and they're not going to go back down the field because the Texans are going to eat 2 minutes off the clock with the ball or whatever, and then the Panthers will just kneel on it. So my parlay is going to be dead. Thanks for fucking nothing.
Beeve, to answer your comment, we're doing the 21st century.
That's not a touchdown, by the way.
All-time teams.
No, he gets.
Oh, let me guess. He commented the Cowboys.
No, he commented the Chicago Bulls, but the Bulls dynasty is the 90s, not the 2000s.
That should have been called.
He wasn't even alive for good Bulls teams.
No, he was. I'm pretty sure that's how he became a Bulls fan.
That should have been called as a down. I don't understand that.
Unless they stopped forward progress before that.
He got the Bush push.
Jeff, we're watching the game on mute, so I'm not sure if he stopped the forward progress before that.
No. They gave him the Bush push. They didn't blow the whistle or nothing.
Oh, okay.
They should have. Because that's me. But
right, because you just don't want to see Sam Darnold become elite. By the way, 300 yards passing, that's his second rushing touchdown of the game. He threw for another one. Sam Darnold, elite quarterback. Too bad the Jets don't get players like that.
First of all, again, you're going to listen to this again. I wanted the Jets to keep Sam Darnold. So what the hell are you talking about? 1. Number 2, I've been saying how many times that I'm rooting for Sam Darnold. So whatever you're saying, the stupidity that comes out of your mouth is retarded.
I just feel bad for you on the anniversary of the Mo Lewis hit and bringing you 20 years of misery. It's just another example of a Jet going somewhere else.
No, because I think Zach Wilson's going to be very successful in this league. So
I know six interceptions so far. That's
not 6 interceptions, 5.
He threw 2 the first week, and didn't he throw 2 the first week?
He threw 1.
He threw 1 the first week. He threw 4 the second.
Yeah, it's 5, by the way. And Trevor Lawrence, your butt buddy, has 6 interceptions. So what are you talking about? All right.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good player.
Yeah.
I like
Trevor Lawrence.
He was in a movie.
So Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good player, but Zach Wilson isn't. Because
Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good player because his talent is elite. And Zach Wilson was doomed to play for the Jets.
Okay,
that's terrible. That's terrible news.
Whatever you say, you sound
like the new Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. Okay, you sound like an idiot, and it's typical from somebody like you.
Just wait for it. Just wait. 3 years from now, we're going to be debating,
Just wait for
whether or not they should be drafting.
I can't wait.
The Manning kid.
I guarantee.
Where's Arch Manning?
I guarantee you that Zach Wilson will be a successful quarterback in this league. So
not for the Jets. Maybe he'll be a successful quarterback for the Dolphins.
Whatever you say.
Maybe the Eagles.
Jeff,
maybe we should. Maybe that's
Jeff,
what we should be trying to.
Jeff, stop. We're not talking about Sam Darnold, the Jets, or Zach Wilson. No, I'm not broken.
Jeff,
you're an idiot. I didn't want to talk about this. And again, you bring it up in conversation. This has nothing to do with the show. I'm talking about something completely different, and you're bringing up Zach Wilson. But that's just you and your stupidity.
Before I read the comments, Jeff, did you see that Arch Manning is Lane Kiffin's only Instagram follow?
Yeah, dude, everyone's doing it. Did you see the front row of the Georgia Bulldogs? They paint like messages on them. They actually did a really nice one a couple of years ago. The coach from Arkansas State lost his wife, so they painted themselves pink, and it said, prayers for Coach Anderson, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what the one this week was? Because they were hosting Arch Manning. Right, this was Arch Manning's unofficial visit to Georgia. They painted themselves. It says, "We want Arch."
I saw that.
They stood on the front row the entire game.
Mm-hmm. Carl says TD, the big fundamental. Snug says the city of Boston is the best team. All the major sports won at least one championship and some of them multiple championships. Carl says, Tyler, this isn't the Ice Cube Big Three. Ha ha. Tyler is proving that the NFL will add in the Nickelodeon slime to touchdowns on the field. Snug says, I'd love to see the losing team slimed. Brilliant. I mentioned the Beeve referring the Bulls. We're doing 21st century Beeve. Snug says Sam Darnold is a Pro Bowler this year, and oh god, I can't wait to see another butt fumble classic Jets play.
But I had asked Tyler earlier, like, don't you think that would happen? Like, you're talking 4-point line, 5-point line. Don't you think the NBA would start to turn into the XFL if that were to happen?
Yes. And I don't think I don't see the NBA doing that. I don't see Adam Silver doing that. I understand they like offense, and the game is very, it's offensively sound now. It's all offense, no defense. Nobody wants to play defense. The NBA is starting to look like the NBA All-Star game. That's what it looks like. I mean, an average NBA team is averaging, 100 points a game? I mean, in the olden days, in the 90s, an average NBA team was averaging 90 or 85 points a game. Why has it obviously become more of an offensive game? Because the NBA wants that, because it puts fannies in the seats. But I think a good defensive team over the years, especially the NBA, should have never changed the rules. In the 90s, that was the best time of basketball.
But they run the risk of turning themselves into a cartoon, though, right? That's what I'm saying is, like, it's not, I made the joke earlier, but this isn't MTV Rock and Jock. You don't want to have dots on the court that are a 10-point shot and stuff just because if a team's down, you want them to catch up. That's ridiculous.
Jeff, you might have your parlay.
And honestly, I think the NBA...
No. The Texans... It's not going to matter, right? Because the Texans will do whatever, and then the Panthers will just run the ball out. Dude, Chuba Hubbard just whatever. I just did it on a flyer because him having a touchdown was going off at plus 500. That's why I was like, you want to know what? Let me just do this.
And the B's right. The NBA does suck now. I think the NBA is completely... when we watched the NBA in the 90s, where you could put your hand on the player defensively, I think flagrant fouls were really pushed away. How many times did we see a flagrant foul in the 90s? We barely ever saw that. We've seen Shaquille. I'm sorry.
Every game you saw it. Really, dude. That Bad Boys Pistons team.
Yeah, but it was they were calling flagrant fouls. They were calling technical fouls. Now it's a flagrant one. You could get thrown. Flagrant two. You could get thrown out of a game. In those days,
that's the difference. They're calling it, I guess, different, right? But let's be honest, those Bad Boys Pistons teams were tackling people, and they just go, okay, foul.
So was the Orlando Magic with Penny Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal. Remember those teams? And
they
Anderson,
were hacking people too. Yeah,
absolutely.
They
were tossing people. And how about the Knicks in the 90s with Xavier McDaniel doing it to Michael Jordan, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason? The Knicks were a heavily known team to throw people, all over the place. I mean, even the Houston Rockets were another team that did it. So I think the NBA does suck now. I think, and also, by the way, Ben's right. Flopping has gotten out of control too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's affected the game.
Thanks, LeBron.
Right.
Not just LeBron.
Oh, he's the biggest culprit.
Oh, dude, he's the king of it. That's what he's the king of. King flopper. Dude, he won't even get touched and he'll fall on his back and roll around like a turtle. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, dude, it's terrible. He's the worst with it. Him and James Harden are the two worst.
Oh, Harden's bad.
And Harden also gets away with so many travels too.
Oh,
they don't travel.
Then what's even better is LeBron will flop and then pretend like he's hurt and then immediately jump up and make that dumb face and throw his hands up at the ref. Like, why didn't you call that?
James Harden, I will say, he is the worst when it comes to drawing fouls and stuff like that. That guy cries, and when he doesn't get a foul called, he's complaining. You see him run up to the referee, screaming, saying something.
Yeah, LeBron's
Russell
worse,
Westbrook
though.
too. Russell Westbrook too.
I love when they do that. They do all those memes with James Harden, and they put the crying Jordan face on his beard. Whatever. There's James Harden complaining for a call when he's sad.
Now I want to get into the best defensive player of the 21st century. The best, and I'm talking about all sports. You from baseball, if you want to put baseball, hockey, basketball, football. Speedy, you first. What out of all the sports, out of all the players that you could pick, who stood out to you in the 21st century as the top defensive player?
I think in terms of
one player,
I think all around just dominance, intimidation. Ray Lewis for me. I think Ray Lewis just did everything. Just the leadership he had. Just a great all-around skill player. The middle linebacker position, which, again, there's not many great ones in today's game. They're a lot harder to find that we see. Just such a consistent player, great leader his whole career. I'm going to go Ray Lewis.
Tyler, who do you got?
I mean, Darrelle Revis made a cornerback cool again, right? I mean, he shut down one side of the field every week for about 5 years. That's very hard to do. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And maybe now we can all shut up about Tyler Hayden on the Jets.
Jeff, who do you think, out of all the defensive players that you can pick over the last 21st in the 21st century, is there a defensive player that stands out to you who you would say is the best defensive player of the 21st century?
I'll give you two and two non-football guys, right? Because you guys covered football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hard to beat what Zdeno Chara is in hockey on defense. I realize he's not very good
was my other pick.
Capitals, but Zdeno Chara dominant for forever on defense. And one from basketball, Speedy just mentioned Ray Lewis because of intimidation and toughness. How about Ben Wallace?
Ben Wallace was good. Again,
multiple-time defensive player of the year, by the way. Anyone. So, I mean, Ben Wallace, pretty good.
I think that when you look at the defensive player and what he was Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan, all around, he was the epiphany of defensive. He was the anchor of the San Antonio Spurs, and why San Antonio year in and year out was one of the top 3 defensive teams in all of basketball. I think he really stands out to me. Also, Tyler, you were saying Darrelle Revis. You can also say Charles Woodson and what Charles Woodson was as a safety /
the other corner. If I had to go a different corner, I would have picked Jesus. I don't know where I would have picked. I think Revis is clear. Honestly, if I had to pick
Charles Woodson isn't clear.
I would pick Ed Reed over Charles Woodson.
Oh, for his position. Okay, sure.
Yeah, Ed Reed would have been my other pick.
That was the other one I was thinking of too for saying with that Ravens team.
Ed Reed and Char were the only 2 names I really had in my mind.
Do you know Charles Woodson is the only player in professional football history that's won a Heisman, won a Defensive Player of the Year. He won a Super Bowl. He won an MVP in the Super Bowl as well. He is the only player in NFL history to do all those things.
Are you sure he won MVP in the Super Bowl?
I think he did. Yes.
I thought Desmond Howard was the Super Bowl MVP.
No, I think he won the MVP.
The Patriots.
Well, it wasn't the only Super Bowl. Was Woodson only won 1 Super Bowl?
Woodson. Well, Woodson won 2, but
won 2.
The other one was Aaron Rodgers. So I think Desmond Howard won the Patriots Packers Super Bowl with the MVP with the kick return touchdown or punt return touchdown.
Go ahead, Speedy. When I look up stuff, why do you not finish up your comment?
Yeah, I was right. Desmond Howard.
Speak so I can look up what I need to look up.
Which is labeled as return specialist in this case.
Sometimes when I sit on this show, I wonder why I even work with you, because when I'm doing something, I'm looking up something, I can't even look it up. But when you're looking up something, I got to speak and you don't shut the hell up. So you're just like a giant jack in a box. That's what you are.
The only other Super Bowl he made was with the Raiders, but they lost to Tampa. They got blown out by Tampa. So obviously he wouldn't have won MVP. Dexter Jackson won MVP. But yeah, I know Woodson did have something like that where he is the only defensive back. Obviously the last defensive player to win the Heisman, which may not ever happen again with the way the offensive leagues are going now, especially with college football.
Well, that's what it is. He won a Super Bowl. He won Defensive Player of the Year. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year. And he won a Heisman. And he's the only player in NFL history to do all that. That's what it is. Not a Super Bowl MVP.
Ben says Julius Peppers.
He's the only player to do that in NFL history.
Ben says Julius Peppers. That is a very good choice on that one. He's probably the best pass rusher, the 21st century.
Wasn't Charles Woodson the last defensive player to win a Heisman?
Yes.
Which is crazy to say that. And that was in 97.
Right.
When he won a Heisman.
And that's an offensive award.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying with the rule changes in football now. You'll probably never see it again with a defensive player.
I mean, because he shouldn't have been the last. Because he shouldn't have been the last. Because if you're talking about best player in college football, it was almost impossible not to give it to Dominic Sue, and they didn't.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Snug says Martin Brodeur.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
If goalies are counting, then where's Lundqvist?
That's
right. Well, Brodeur would take it over
Brodeur's
Lundqvist,
better
though.
than Lundqvist.
Yeah, but you also have to consider that half of that is from the 90s. You have to look at it from 2000 and on.
Yeah,
from
but also
2000 and on.
Brodeur
is
was
Brodeur
his
that much
rookie
better
year
than
was-
Lundqvist?
his rookie year was 94.
Brodeur was the most dominant goaltender from 2000 to 2010.
Right. And he still had 5 more solid years after that. He got older eventually. Then they traded him.
I mean, Lundqvist in 2010 all the way to 2019 or 2018, he was the best goalie in the NHL. But from 2000 to 2010, from 2000 to 2010, Brodeur was the goaltender. And
That's 2 years difference.
What are you talking about? 2 years difference?
2000 to 2010 is 10 years.
But it's
From
also
2010 to 2018 is 8 years.
It's also
That's what I said.
2 years.
It's
So
also
he's in the
where
conversation. Then.
Lundqvist also was.
He is not. Lundqvist is not even close to Martin Brodeur.
Also,
you
Lundqvist,
couldn't even put him in the same conversation as Martin Brodeur.
As a whole career, probably
Yes,
not.
Not even.
But
no.
from 2010 to 2000, and from 2010 to 90 to whatever he left,
I guarantee
18.
you. I guarantee you.
I mean, it's hard to put him in that same conversation because he clearly didn't have the postseason success. He might have been close in like
Not
regular
his fault.
season save
Not his fault
percentage
at
or
all.
anything like that. But Brodeur's career as a whole isn't even. Dude, I mean, the only other people you can put him on that level is like Patrick Roy, Rocket Richard, right?
Right. Hold on. But he said from the 21st century. So you cannot bring anything he did in the 90s into it. That's why I'm saying you have to take out 6 elite years. That's a lot.
In
of hockey.
Martin Brodeur's elite years in 2000 from 2000 to 2010 was better than Lundqvist in 2010.
I can assure you they're probably closer numbers than you think.
All right, so Speedy, go look at the numbers.
I have Brodeur is up right now. He also had later in his career, 2012, his last year, 2.12 goals against average. He had 917 save percentage. 2008, 2009.
He was a backup.
No, he wasn't. He was a backup in
let's
2012.
see. In 2012.
With the Blues?
No.
We're not talking about the Blues.
We're not talking about the
That
Blues.
was in 2013 or 14.
Yeah, that was later on. And he had 24 games started. He might have gotten hurt that year too.
From 2000 to 2010, what is his numbers?
Oh wait, this is the playoffs. That's why.
What is his numbers?
So in 2011, 2012, he had 2.41 goals against average, 908 save percentage, 2.45.
Can't you just like make it one average? And do we
But
have
again,
to sit here and go through all 8 years?
Every year in that stretch, it was less than 2.5 for an older goalie. Is very impressive too. That's the longevity that he brought in. And like Errol was saying, he was consistently under 2.3 every other year in the 2000s with save percentage 920, 917 in this stretch as well. And in the playoffs, like I was reading some of the playoffs numbers, he was still very good too, especially on that cup run that they went before they lost to the Kings as well. So
this is going to take.
I would say that the consistency of it.
I'm just trying to look at the numbers for Lundqvist right now. Go ahead, Speedy.
Because Lundqvist too, also the injuries towards the end of his career definitely hurt him.
That's why I said hold on. I'm not saying it's a whole career. From the 21st century on, you're talking about 2-year difference. The numbers won't be that dramatic where it's like, oh, it's not a conversation. And by the way, this Devil team that you're talking about was a lot better put together than any of the Ranger teams that we're talking about. Lundqvist was the team.
Which is fair. I'll give you that because the Rangers, I don't know what they're doing in the front office a lot of the time. But at the same time, that he was also on some Devils teams that weren't good offensively where they had to win so many low-scoring games because of that.
Right.
And granted, Lundqvist was too, but I think on a more consistent basis, you saw the Devils in the top of the Eastern Conference a lot of the time too.
And the Devils also had, 3 Hall of Famers? The Rangers gave Lundqvist what?
Okay.
Maybe one.
But that's more later.
Maybe one.
But that's
just
more...
like Tom Brady. Martin Brodeur was there when all these different changes, all these different players, all these different defensemen and offensive players, and he still was the dominant player. He was the player they built the team around. That's who Lou Lamoriello built his team around, his goaltender. So when you talk about how great Tom Brady was and how many different players he played with, when you look at, and by the way, Martin Brodeur, how many coaches did he have? Martin Brodeur had like 5 different coaches on the time that he was with the Devils, okay? To Tom Brady's 1 with the Patriots. So just think of all the defensive style of games that Martin Brodeur had to play with. It wasn't the the defensive-minded team year in and year out all the time. They change their team every 5 years. So when you look at that, the dominance of Martin Brodeur and what Brodeur did in the Eastern Conference, in a very hard Eastern Conference, it's not even
Still
close.
hard.
It's not even close. And Lundqvist, you can't even put in the same vicinity. And Jeff is right. The only goaltender that you could put in that conversation is Patrick Waugh. Really?
Well, he's not from the 21st century.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about of all time.
But we were not talking all time. Your
know,
question's limited.
I know that. First of all, if you really want to look from 2010 to 2000, Martin Brodeur's numbers are better than Lundqvist in the 2010 to 2008. That's a guarantee. It doesn't matter how far apart it is. If you want to look at their careers, it's not even close. So if you want to look at even 8 years, Lundqvist's best 8 years or 7 years or 5 years from 2010 to 2018 to Martin Brodeur's in 2010. Martin Brodeur's best 5 years is way better than Henrik Lundqvist.
So you can look that up. So you're being a tad bit disrespectful.
Lundqvist's career numbers are 2.43 goals against. Granted, like I said, injuries at the end of his career definitely hurt that. 918 save percentage, had 64 shutouts. He played from 2005 to last year. Martin Brodeur in that stretch, the entire 2000s, 912 save percentage, 2.27 goals against, had 83 shutouts. Also won 4 Vezina trophies in that stretch as well.
Right, Lundqvist did get screwed up a few runs, but that's
which is fine. But still, Brodeur's years, he was the most dominant by far.
What are you going to say, Jeff?
Not to ruin what you're doing, but it's a broken foot for JC Horn out for the year.
Wow,
that sucks.
Damn,
it sucks for them.
That's brutal for that defense. Because Dante Jackson, in the time that he had to be a number one corner, has not shown he could be a number one corner. He's a good number 2, but they've had between Bradbury leaving, between Josh Norman, all that stuff, and since he's come into the league, he has not done well as a number 1 and is very penalty prone.
Or maybe not done for the year, but they said he's going to be gone for a while.
If you break your foot, you're out for at least 2 months. So and in 2 months it's December, and when does the playoffs start? In January. You might see JC Horn in the playoffs.
Big blow to a team that's 3-0 though.
Right, exactly. And
who they play next week?
I think it's Dallas.
They got some schedule. This schedule's pretty easy.
Yeah, the NFC South in general has a very easy schedule.
It's a pretty easy schedule. Look who they're playing.
Because they get the NFC East, and the AFC East is tricky, but the NFC East, and obviously their own division, which Tampa's very good. The Saints can be, but it's still not hard. Plus, the Panthers have the third place schedule where they also get to play some weaker teams from other divisions as well. Carl says Yadier Molina.
That's going to be a good game.
Yadier Molina for defense. And Ben says Lundqvist in the 2010s. He says, I guess, is close or better. I'm not really sure, but I guess Ben thinks it's closer than people think too.
It's close.
But again, there's still a pretty big difference when it comes to that stretch, though, too, because of the goals against average. The save percentages are pretty similar, 918 to 912. It's 0.06 apart with that. Brodeur 447, 272, and 89 in his career. Lundqvist's career 459, 310, and 96, which Lundqvist has more wins overall, but obviously the better longevity in terms of recently, whereas Brodeur had it in the beginning of his career, like Errol was saying, in the 90s, where he practically played.
Isn't Lundqvist like the only goalie to start a career with 10 years of 20 wins, or 35
I think
wins?
so. I think you're
and I'm very surprised that Beef has come out and said that Brodeur is better. So, and he's a big Ranger and Lundqvist fan.
What did he get drunk and have a moment of clarity?
No, he's being honest. And by the way, Ben's right. Roberto Luongo was as good as Henrik Lundqvist in that span. He was. If you look now, obviously, if I were to take one or the other, I would take Henrik Lundqvist. But Luongo, how many finals did he play in? He played
only the one they lost to the Bruins. That was it.
I'd take the Flower over Luongo.
The Flower. Who's the Flower?
Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury. The Flower. That's what Fleury means, bro.
I got you.
I'll take Flower all day over Luongo.
Luongo, 919 career save percentage, 2.61 goals against, was 489, 392, 124 in his career.
Hasek really wasn't in the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the 90s.
Hasek was amazing though. That dude's spine was made out of a sling.
6 years he was amazing. 6 years. Dominik Hasek was a very unorthodox goaltender, but even at the time that Dominik Hasek was at his dominance, they were really good goaltenders. And I think in the 90s.
You must be very upset about what came out today.
What happened?
Vladimir Tarasenko is staying.
Okay, I'm not upset. I think that the Islanders are still set up very, very well.
There are other offensive players that are on the trade
I'm
block
not
they could
worried
trade
about
for
that.
too. It's not.
No, I'm just
Tarasenko was the biggest
Tarasenko
guy.
for 2 months.
Tarasenko was the biggest guy,
that's
but he wasn't
fine.
the only guy.
Yeah, good for that. I think the Islanders are still set up very, very well. They added Zdeno Chara. I mean, he's going to be a third tier defensive player.
Yeah, that's what he is now, is a third line guy.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
But it doesn't keep him, his time with the Bruins and his time with the Senators.
No.
He was the best defenseman by a million miles in the league.
Right.
Yeah, and to me, he wanted to go back. Obviously, with the Islanders. The Islanders were the team that drafted him, and he wants to try to win with the Islanders, and he has a chance with the way the Islanders are set up. So now, you're right. Not getting an opportunity to go, and just because Vladimir Tarasenko as of right now, is staying with the Blues, doesn't mean that after the season starts, at the trade deadline, he still doesn't get traded.
Right.
So again, I don't know
I
if
think he's gonna like playing with Booch.
I don't know if that can happen
gonna like
without
playing
them
with
shedding salary, though. But we had talked about this before. The Islanders are really up against it with the cap.
But they've done well shedding it for the most part this year, a lot better than people would expect this.
What did they sign Charo as? $400,000, $500,000? They didn't give him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And Charo
he doesn't deserve a lot of money. He's a pylon.
No, but he didn't play that bad with the Capitals last year.
Yeah, he really kind of did. He was a pylon on the third line. Then the dude's. Listen, I hate to knock the guy, but he's 44 years old or whatever he is.
Right. No, he is 44 years old. And again, you're going to lose a lot of speed. Most defensemen lose a lot of speed at 30-something years old. So, yeah, that's going to be bound to happen. But the Islanders did a great job shedding other salary this offseason to make it work. The Ladd contract they got rid of was a miracle. They traded Jordan Eberle, and they've cleared a lot of that space where they can still trade for somebody like that. And maybe, again, for the 9.5 this year.
In 55 games, Zdeno Chara had a plus-minus over 5. So to be +5 is not a bad. If he was a negative, that'd be different. He was +5, and he was the second line. He was on the second line defense with the Washington Capitals, and he had 2 goals and 8 assists.
Talking about a team that puts up a shit ton.
That's fine. That's fine. But he was his plus-minus was a positive 5.
I doubt his minutes were that much either. So how much are you going to be on the ice for all those goals either, too? Now, again, granted, you're also playing against the third and fourth line on another team a lot of the time, too. So that'll kind of cancel in a sense.
I don't much give a shit. He's a legend.
Yeah,
of course.
He's good, but he played a lot more minutes than you think he did, Speedy. First of all, he was playing 25 minutes a game, or between 20 and 25 minutes a game, which is a significant amount, and he was still a +5. To say a 44-year-old guy has a plus-minus of 5, it's good. I mean, to have over a positive. So
proves how legendary he is, then.
Zdeno Chara is still a good player, and you put him on a good defensive team, on a third-line defensive style of team. That's pretty good to have him as your third-line defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
So
leadership, too. He's going to provide a lot with that, too. Obviously, the Capitals, it didn't work there because the Capitals are always one and done in the playoffs, so they don't win the cup anyway. But the Islanders, we've seen them progress throughout the playoffs, 2 conference finals in a row, and they got better.
It didn't matter. Tampa Bay had that cup in the bag in January.
Right, but Tampa also lost 3 pieces, too. So the Islanders might have the edge also getting Anders Lee back, if that is indeed the matchup again. Now, again, the Islanders could also lose elsewhere. The Lightning could also lose elsewhere. But
this year, I think it's wide open.
Right, that's what I'm saying, where it's not as much of a loss.
I like Florida this year to do something.
If Florida can get some level of defense, they can be good, but that defense outside of Ekblad, who's also coming off a bad injury, is very weak, too. So.
Someone still has to stop the perfection line.
Sure. Now, the Bruins also need a little more depth as well if they want to get to that point, because when they went to the Cup, even though their first line, I think, had 60
just fixed all of that.
Yeah.
They just fixed all of that.
So
they went and got Nick Foligno. They went and got a bunch of dudes, man. So Taylor Hall's back. Foligno's there. They just revamped their whole fourth line. They're ready to go. And they signed a solid goaltender, dude. That dude from Buffalo, goddamn.
Ullmark, yeah. Who
Linus Ullmark.
I think led the league in save percentage last year,
He did.
too. Yeah.
He did.
Uh-huh. Beef says the Rangers have the wrong coach. Carl says,
I don't think they do.
You haven't even seen him coach yet.
Yeah, but he doesn't like him. That's
God.
fine. He as well as I did, I think the Rangers should have brought in Mark Messier. That was my opinion. I thought Mark Messier, the fans
Mark Messier should be in the front office.
I think Mark Messier should be the head coach of the New York Rangers. That's just my
Does
opinion.
He want the job?
He did. He wanted the
If
job.
He wants the job. That's different. If he did, I don't.
He
know.
wanted the job for the last 5 years.
and I think he turned down other teams too because he really wants the Rangers.
He wanted the Rangers job, and the Rangers interviewed him twice.
To be frank with you, I think it's best for Mark Messier. He didn't get the job. You see how they just treated John Davidson? Get the hell out of here.
Oh, I know. No, I'm not saying the Rangers are a well-run team, but yeah.
Still a tough building to do with the ghost of James
the
Dolan.
New York Rangers. Now that the Knicks are a functioning machine for the first time in 30 years, watch. James Dolan's going to ruin the Rangers now. Watch.
He's not involved with the Rangers.
This has more Dolan-like things to it than Sather.
Well, Glenn Sather is back, and he's helped running that organization.
I understand.
He stepped away all that time, and now he's come back.
But what I'm trying to tell you is this mess has a lot of Dolan fingerprints on it. It smells like Dolan. It acts like Dolan. It's probably Dolan.
Carl also brings up Duncan Keith as another great defenseman.
Yeah, and I know he's a Chicago Blackhawk.
No.
Duncan Keith. Is Duncan Keith a Hall of Famer?
That's interesting. That's a tough one. I would say yes. I would say yes, but it is borderline. That is borderline. I would say yes, though.
I don't think it's borderline. He was the anchor defenseman on a bunch of cup teams, and he's been one of the best defensemen in the league.
You really think
Drew
that he's a
Doughty's
Hall of
been
Famer?
freaking good.
Drew Doughty too. Yep.
Drew Doughty's great, but I don't know. I don't know about Duncan Keith.
I would say he's a Hall of Famer, but the thing that has held Keith back from being over Chara is Chara's just had physical dominance for a long time.
There's a lot of great defensemen.
And like Errol say with Ottawa too, before he even went to Boston too.
And you haven't even mentioned the best defenseman in the game.
Well, who's the best defenseman in the game?
Hedman, by far, hands down.
Oh
Not
yes,
even close.
Victor Hedman.
Right now, yes,
yes,
for sure.
absolutely. It's not even a question. And again, I want to see what Victor. And obviously, this team, this Tampa Bay Lightning team, that
they're screwed, man. They're only down to 2 lines now.
I want to see what this team is this year.
Two-line teams do not win Stanley Cups, because if 2-line teams would win Stanley Cups, Boston would have won last year. They had the best top 2 lines in the league, and they didn't because they weren't 4 lines deep. 2-line teams don't win. And losing Yanni Gord and Barkley, Coleman, Barkley Goodrow, and losing Coleman and losing all those guys, dude, they're in a lot of trouble.
Beef says huge mistake. Should have been Mark. Ben Tens, he turns down other offers, hoping to get Rangers job. Beef says huge mistake getting rid of Davidson, and Carl says Chara definitely won.
I would agree with Chara was definitely in the last 21st century. It is Zdeno Chara.
Yeah,
but there's been a lot of good defensive players in the last 21st century in different sports. It's not just we named a bunch of them, but there are a bunch that we have missed. I mean, Ed Reed is another one.
Anderson Simmons.
Palomaro. There were a lot of Aaron Donald. I mean, there are a lot of great Julius Pepper.
Yeah, we didn't even get to pass rushers. Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, guys like that. Yeah.
There were a lot of great,
Marcus Ware,
a lot of
Terrell
great
Suggs,
defensive players in all these professional sports. And we can go back and forth and argue this. Now, the greatest running back in the 21st century. So, who do you got?
I have easily LaDainian Tomlinson.
This isn't even a question.
LaDainian Tomlinson, for me, I think was the most dominant, both as a runner and a receiver as well.
Yeah.
In terms of the 21st century, I know Marshall Faulk is close when it comes to the stats of the scrimmage yards and all that, but I think LaDainian Tomlinson, in terms of both his numbers and his overall skills too, he was very elusive, could run inside and outside, great all-around back, and again, pass-catching back on a team that also had some good receivers on it too. Obviously, he played with 2 great quarterbacks, so that definitely helps him, but the quarterbacks also could throw the ball down the field too. So I would give it to LaDainian Tomlinson. I would say Adrian Peterson's a close second, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Tomlinson.
How about you?
It's clearly LaDainian Tomlinson. LaDainian Tomlinson is the greatest running back I've seen live. That man's amazing.
In the 21st century, we're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. From the year 2000 till now, it's absolutely without question LaDainian Tomlinson. He can run you over. He can make you miss. He could catch the ball out of the backfield. He could run a route like a wide receiver. He could block. There's nothing LaDainian Tomlinson could not do.
How about you, Jeff?
I don't know how this answer isn't Zeke Elliott.
Speedy, you laugh at everything. It's really annoying. But go ahead. Honestly, who do you got?
Yeah, no, it's Zeke Elliott. He's amazing. I mean, I just can't believe that a running back like this is like that exists in this era. I mean, he's literally better than Barry Sanders.
Honestly, I want to now.
It's Tomlinson, dude. It's Tomlinson or Peterson or it's those guys. It's like it's not maybe Curtis Martin, maybe.
Yeah,
like
you could say that.
But
it was only 5 years that in the 2000 because he came in 95. So I mean, he had good years from 2000 to 2005. I mean, they were efficient years. He should have won. Honestly, in 2004, he should have won the MVP. I mean, if you look at what he did, he almost had 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns. He was the
Who
face.
won MVP?
Was that Michael Vick's year?
Peyton Manning.
Okay.
It was Peyton Manning.
I mean, I could throw another guy in. It was a while ago, but I could throw another guy in. But I don't even know if he's better than Marshall Faulk. But what about Edgerrin James?
Yep.
And even then, I'm only saying that to throw that out there because I don't actually believe he's better than Tomlinson.
How about Frank Gore? You forget about him?
Yeah.
Frank Gore was efficient. Adrian Peterson, sensational. Marshall Faulk. I mean, but Marshall Faulk, it was really at the end of his career.
Mostly in the 90s.
It was at the end of his career, so I wouldn't even put Marshall Faulk.
Like he's the same kind of thing as Tomlinson. Like he was that first great scrimmage back. He could catch passes, run routes, and
He was before his time.
Yeah.
If he would have got drafted right now, forget about it.
Oh, for sure.
He'd break the doors off.
Oh, no question. I'm saying
he'd be the best running back in football by a mile and a half.
If you want to say since he did it first and transcended it, yeah, if you want to argue that, he was still kind of that LaDainian Tomlinson back where he could do everything and run routes like a wide receiver, bumped around with the Colts and the Rams. I personally think Tomlinson was a little better, but not by much. It's that's a very close argument.
How about Chris Johnson?
Yeah, Chris Johnson for the short period of time was very good. He just didn't have the same longevity.
I think it was for 6 years.
Chris Johnson was
tremendous. It was as good as any running back. Mm-hmm. He was just as good as a LaDainian Tomlinson for that 6 years. Mm-hmm. I think he had 2,000 scrimmage yards.
2009.
Yeah, so that's pretty amazing. And Chris Johnson was one of the fastest players we've ever seen. But honestly, the one that really sticks out to me out of all the running backs, and you guys say LaDainian Tomlinson, you can go back and forth, but the guy that really sticks out to me is guys like Marshall Faulk. I mean, not Marshall Faulk. I'm sorry, Marshawn Lynch. Okay. I think Marshawn Lynch in a 6-7 year span, who was better than Marshawn Lynch? I don't think anybody's going to give this guy credit because of obviously what he's done on and off the field. The crazy guy that he is. He retires. He comes back. And also LaShawn McCoy. People also forget about LaShawn McCoy.
Oh, couldn't stand him. Yeah, but he was phenomenal.
Yeah, but have you ever seen a dude, right, that was so hated for so long just become such a lovable figure like Marshawn Lynch? It actually, his antics actually became funny. Endearing.
I never thought he was hateable. He just did some silly things.
People didn't like him.
Well, then they got to stick up their ass. I thought he was hysterical.
People just didn't. So, yeah. People didn't like him, and that was. And I like Marshawn Lynch because of his Skittles commercials, his personality. Every time he's on a commercial now, the Dorito commercial. Yeah. I mean, he's funny.
You see the video of him telling the mother, your kid ain't no good. My team, I'm gonna. That was hysterical.
And the mom's like, all right, well then, all right, little Jimmy,
come on, pack up. He's like,
what was his best moment?
You're not even mentioning. You're mentioning all that other stuff. His best moment, what he's most known for, is I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Yep.
Well, you know why I'm here. Yeah, listen, I thought it was just hysterical. I thought it was a huge F you to Roger Goodell. And for that alone, I applaud him.
Ben also says LaDainian Tomlinson. Carl says Edgar and James in the discussion, maybe. And Chris Johnson, according to Gus Johnson, had getaway from the cops speed.
Oh, yeah. I think he had
mostly
the fastest,
because that's all he did was try to get away from cops.
I think he had the fastest combine
at the time. He did
40 until what's his name?
John Ross broke it.
John Ross.
2017.
I thought it was still a record though, wasn't it?
No, John Ross broke it in 2017. I think 4.28. I think Chris Johnson was 4.29. He broke it by a little bit.
And what a bust, John Ross.
We all knew that was going to come. He was barely a first-round prospect. Yes, he still is the fastest running back. We all kind of saw that coming. Everyone's going to fall in love with him at the combine. Obviously, the Bengals reached on him 9th overall. He was barely a first-round prospect.
Isn't that ironic, though?
At the time.
Now you look at DK, who was a huge NFL combine sensation, and no one touched him.
Well, they're kind of shying away from that, knowing like the other factors.
There are a lot of guys that like DK Metcalf.
Can I throw another guy in there that maybe didn't have the longevity but was great for a
Steven
5-year
Jackson?
stretch?
Yes.
Jamal Charles.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes needs a little bit of respect.
I forgot about Jamal Charles.
Yeah. Kind of the same stretch as Chris Johnson.
Priest Holmes was great too.
Yeah. Jamal Charles, I think
I would pick Priest Holmes over Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles, I think when he retired,
Jamal
was
Charles
the active leader for yards per carry.
Look at his numbers.
Go ahead, go look at his numbers.
I don't need his numbers. I'm telling you, Priest Holmes had
bring up Priest Holmes
like 125 something touchdowns.
Yeah, but Jamal Charles also was when he retired, I think it was 2015, was the active leader in yards per carry for a whole career for a large enough sample size. I believe it was 4.25, if I remember correctly. All right, so Priest Holmes in his career, 1780 rushes for 8,172 yards, 86 touchdowns, 4.6 yards a carry. So Charles must have been higher then in that case.
How many games did he play?
He played 113 games. He started 82. He also played with the Ravens for 4 years too, 97 to 2000 with the Ravens, then 2001 to 2007.
So he only played 113 games
with the Chiefs. Yes, he only played 113 games.
So Tyler, you're probably right. Priest Holmes was better all around. Yeah, because Jamal Charles played.
Well, that's why I said it wasn't like a long period of time, but there was a period of time there where Jamal Charles was the best running back in football.
Yeah,
it wasn't long, but it was like a 3-year stretch.
Had that same stint.
Right. Yeah, so they're kind of the same thing. Both of them.
What was Priest Holmes' best year? What did he have? How many yards?
Oh, his best year was probably 2003. He had 27 touchdowns. He had 1420 yards, averaged 4.4 yards a carry. Also had 690 receiving yards.
I forgot that year he had 24 touchdowns that year.
Before that, he had 21.
And the year before that, he had 21, 313 carries, 16.
And he came out of nowhere.
Yards.
He was like a
right, and the Ravens gave up on him.
Right. He played with the Ravens for 4 years when Jamal Lewis was already there and Ernest Biner was there. They had a lot of different.
I wonder how Baltimore. Jamal Lewis is in that conversation too. Jamal Lewis had, I think, one of the most.
Jamal Lewis also had I forget. I think
running back.
His first year with Cleveland too was actually pretty good.
He ran for what 2000. He's top 5 all time.
10,607 rushing yards, 58 in his 58 touchdowns.
That year, right?
Literally playing the 2000s, 2000 to 2009.
No, Sean Alexander was good with Seattle.
Sean Alexander's up there.
Yeah,
too,
but I was never a big fan of Sean Alexander, and he never played good in the clutch. Never did. Never.
Jerome Bettis.
They didn't Seattle go to the Super Bowl?
06. They lost to the Steelers.
Yes, and Sean Alexander played well, like in 2 out of the 4 games. He played well, I think, against the Panthers in the NFC Championship game, but then he struggled in the Super Bowl. I mean, granted, it's a tough Steeler defense.
I love Clinton Portis.
That was Clinton Portis, another one too. You could definitely.
He's in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, the whole health benefits fraud that hit. It was him, Robert Spillane, and someone else. Yeah,
that could be a felony. On his name.
Yeah, he took away.
Could be a felony. It is a felony. It's wire fraud, bro. He's facing 20 years, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I didn't know it was 20 years.
The court case is still ongoing right now, but for what it's discovered, he's a 6-figure money amount.
You think he's going to get out of it?
I don't know.
Because
he also went broke too.
Was it the amount of money they took, like $12 to $15 million or something?
Not with him. I think it was $90,000.
Spillane had the most. I know that.
I think his was $90,000.
His was close to $1 million. I think his was something in the $750,000 range. Robert Spillane.
I'm talking about Clinton Portis.
I think was more in the $200,000.
I heard it was like $95,000.
Okay. Yeah, Clinton Portis, I think, was the least of the 3. Spillane was the mastermind from what people were reading on that whole operation. I forget who the third player was. He was a receiver who I think played for the Chargers.
We're forgetting about? How dare us not mention Tiki Barber's name during this conversation either?
Because I don't think he was an elite running back in the 21st century.
He was solid.
He was solid, but it wasn't elite.
He should be a borderline Hall of Famer. But
no.
But
not long. He didn't play long enough to be a Hall of Famer.
97-06.
Made it into the Buccaneers ring of honor.
97-06 had 10,449 yards, 55 touchdowns.
I guarantee you there are running backs in the Hall of Fame that have less yards.
No. How many yards did he have?
10,449 yards, 55 rushing touchdowns. He played
dual back.
154 games. Yes, was a very good dual back. 719 receiving yards, his best
good
receiving
blocking
yard
running back too.
609 the year.
As soon as he retired, they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know, and that's going to be the caveat. That's why he will not get in. If he doesn't get in, that'll be why.
Yeah, Ben
I think
also
we're
says-
all overlooking James White too. What a Super Bowl that was!
Errol and I both said he should have been MVP. I remember that.
Yeah, no, he had a hell of a game.
He was the most consistent player that whole
Yeah,
game.
3 touchdowns in that game.
13
Or
catches.
LeGarrette Blount. You don't smoke the Blount. The Blount smokes you.
Yes,
that's
except
true.
he got stripped in the Super Bowl, so that didn't exactly help. But then James White emerged, so. LeGarrette Blount did play well in the playoffs for the rest of his time, though. So that was, I think, really the only dud. Yeah, Brian Westbrook, too, definitely was in that mix. Probably in that same stretch, too, the 2000, because he also.
You know, I'm not even against this. Dallas had somebody before Zeke that probably should have been in this conversation.
I don't know. In the 2000s.
After Emmitt Smith? Yeah.
It was mainly
Murray?
it was Marion Barber.
Murray?
No, DeMarco Murray
it
wasn't
wasn't
long
DeMarco
enough.
Murray.
Marion Barber wasn't.
DeMarco Murray was pretty good for 3 years.
He was great at the start of his career, but the injuries caught up with him eventually. And I don't know if he ever had that same kind of stretch. And then he had the one great year with the Titans too when he first got there, but then kind of died out. Like I think he could have been there without
what
the
about
injuries.
elite running back Ron Dane?
No, stop.
Oh God.
Well, then he was elite in that. Was he don't.
In college, he was.
Yeah.
One of the greatest college running backs of all time.
I'm pretty sure he won a Heisman too. I think.
Yeah, and then he went to the Giants. And his
Yeah,
career
and then he
was
went to the
over.
Giants. Yep.
Well, that's more John Fossil's fault. Rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
But,
Ben says hashtag on Wisconsin naturally.
What are we talking about Wisconsin for?
Ron Dane.
Oh.
Ron Dane. And then then he gets drafted.
Nothing to anything from Wisconsin. You could talk about cheese, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, Wisconsin."
Well, yeah. Green Bay always wins.
Well, also
he's always got Green Bay winning.
But Jeff,
the Milwaukee Brewers.
Jeff, they have more cows than people in that state, so it's not surprising.
The Greek Freak is the greatest player since sliced bread.
Dude, have you been to that? Have you been to that
Well,
state?
that's I don't know if that's true.
Dude, what a horrific.
They shouldn't make that joke. They had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Thomas Jones.
What a horrific group of.
It is.
What a horrific looking group of people from Wisconsin are. What a bunch of mouth breathers
I knew the
that
Jets had
crew
somebody
is.
that was worth a damn.
An entire state in the best 5 looking people are all on Making a Murderer.
All right.
Well, we all know the most known murderer of them all, besides Ted Bundy, is from Wisconsin, and that is Jeffrey Dahmer.
All right.
I know my serial killers.
That's right.
Carl brought up Thomas Jones.
So do I.
Thomas Jones in his career, 10,591 yards, 68 touchdowns, rushing in 180 games played. He actually played longer than I thought. I didn't realize he played all the way back to 2000. 2000 to 2011, 5 different teams, and receiving, he had 23 yards, 91 touchdowns. So, but probably not him not
Who
being as
replaced
much.
Thomas Jones?
Who replaced him where?
But with
Chicago.
the Jets.
With Chicago, Matt Forte.
Matt Forte.
Forte was pretty
He
freaking
was.
good too.
He was very
Forte is a Hall of Famer.
Very good.
Matt Forte is a Hall of Famer.
Because he also was one of the.
Bring up Matt Forte's numbers.
He was also.
I guarantee you, Tiki's numbers are better.
Go look at his numbers.
Because Forte had good longevity, was also the best at that time, the best pass catching back in the league.
Yep.
He had a couple 808 yards 1 year. Actually, no, they're 547 yards, and that was a whole kind of transcendent thing at that time because it was only Marshall Faulk, Ladainian Tomlinson.
Screen, but it looks like
97, 96 yards, 54 touchdowns. So rushing wise, probably not as good as Tiki Barber, and receiving, I think, is close too. So maybe not to the level of Tiki Barber, but
here's
close.
the thing: Tiki
But he had the
Barber,
longevity.
he didn't have the longevity, and that's the.
But wouldn't
the
that
NFL
help?
No.
Hey, I retired
The
early, and I left in the prime.
The
My
NFL
prime.
looks at longevity. They look at that.
Yeah,
how
Barry
dominant
Sanders
you
left
are.
in his prime, and it
Carl
didn't hurt him.
Yeah, but
Carl
Barry
says-
Sanders did 10 years straight of 1,000 or more yards. Again, with one of the worst offensive lines
Go back
in
to
NFL
Tiki.
history.
I'll never come
Okay.
here with a dead phone again.
Carl says Matt Forte has the record for most catches in a season. Yes, 102 catches in 2014. Yes.
Who
And
are we
that-
talking about?
Matt Forte in 2014, when he was 29 years old, still had the most catches in a season for a running back. Yes, very good pass catching back. Tiki Barber had 586 catches, 5.8. So he had more yards, but not as many catches, and 12 receiving touchdowns.
How
So
great is it? No Cowboys are on this
They're
list.
very, very
Mention
close.
Cowboys.
Well, if we were talking about the 90s, Emmitt Smith would be there.
And Tony Dorsett, too, going even back for even further.
They would be there. I mean, Emmitt Smith, as much as I couldn't stand the Cowboys in the 90s because I really couldn't stand them, Emmitt Smith was right there. I mean, he really was. But he also, with the teams that they had and the offensive line the Cowboys had.
That's arguably
I
the
mean, me
greatest
and you
guard
could have
duo
run
of all
behind
time.
them.
Yeah.
I mean,
that 6 years is pretty freaking good.
I mean, think about that. Think about how crazy that is. That if you want to see a good Cowboys player, you need a VCR.
Well, not this. Des Bryant was good. I mean,
Terrell Owens was great.
It wasn't a catch.
Well, I know it
yeah,
wasn't
of
a
course,
catch.
but
That was
Cowboys fans still think
that
it
was a catch.
Des Bryant at the top of his career for like 7-8 years with the Cowboys. He was damn good.
He was the first 7 years of his
Was it
career.
7
probably.
years?
Yeah,
I
7
don't know
years.
if it was
09
it might
to
have been
16. But he really only fell off in Dak's first year because he had all those injury issues. And then that year after the 2015, after
was
the
pretty damn
non-catch, he was after the non-catch year. I think it might. I don't know. Obviously, it's 6 months, so it probably didn't directly carry over, but I'm sure that carried over a little bit mentally. Him getting the call reversed on him. Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff. I didn't think it was a catch either.
Actually,
It was a catch.
Actually, when you look at his
That's a
number,
catch.
and Tyler, you might be right on this too. Des Bryant, 4 out of the, from 2010 to 2017, because that's when he played at the top of his game. I would say 4 seasons where Des Bryant really had great numbers. After that, 561 yards,
I don't know why.
928 yards, 401 yards, 796, 838. His best season was 1,320 yards, 16 touchdowns. That was a great season, by the way. I remember that.
Yeah.
15 yards per catch. And that was the year that catch with the Green Bay Packers,
Right.
which
Yeah, that's a catch.
Wasn't a catch.
it wasn't a catch.
That's a
Wasn't a
catch.
catch.
Still wasn't a catch.
It was not a catch.
Okay, you're all insane. He caught the ball and moved over a defender. That's a move with the
Jeff,
football.
why did
and
you
then
not
put the ball
think-
down?
Why did
That's
you
a catch.
think it was a catch? Honestly.
Why did I not think it was a catch? Because
Yes.
it wasn't. Because he jumped in the air, came down with both feet down. That's great. Tripped over the thing, and then he tripped over the defender, and then didn't survive the ground. That ball hit the ground. He didn't survive the ground, which at the time was a rule. If you needed to survive the ground,
Right.
and he didn't.
And they changed the rule after that.
Yeah,
didn't
they made it a lot more lenient because of the whole controversy. It was him with Calvin Johnson. There was another Super Bowl too. I think it was the Panthers Broncos Super Bowl. There was another one like that.
Great. So let him catch it this year, and we can call it a catch. But at the time, still not a catch.
What team will he be playing for when he does it?
The Cowboys. Dak's got to win 3 in a row.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my God! Don't do that to me. Don't do that.
But this is supposed to be the third of the 3 Super Bowls in a row. Just remember.
Was
I
it?
mean, think about how dumb this kid is.
That take was 3 years
That take
ago?
was 2019
Jesus
on your show.
Christ.
2019 in August.
Well,
Dak Prescott's going to win 3
I'd
straight
have.
Super Bowls.
Well, read what the beef was saying, because the beef says it was a catch. He
I
made a
hear
move
you.
and reached for more yards, you idiots.
but it wasn't a quote unquote football move. That's when you decipher the catch and the
hold on.
fumble.
I never, ever will defend the Beeve. That was a catch.
But
He did not fall over a defender. He landed and put a foot over the defender and reached out with the ball.
But
That's a move.
But the same thing goes for the catch
But
and the
as you're
fumble.
going to the ground, right? But as you're going to the ground, you need possession and
Right.
need to survive the ground. Did he
And-
survive the ground?
No, he didn't.
He had
No.
possession.
No,
He had possession.
but he didn't survive the ground, and he also wasn't already a football move, so you can't call it a catch and a fumble either. Once he bobbled it on the way down, so it wasn't a catch, and it was such a tight window because he caught it about the 2-yard line. He barely took any steps. He kind of just landed and kind of fell with it, where it wasn't.
It
he
wasn't a
didn't survive it to the
touchdown,
ground.
but it was a catch.
I'll be honest. On live play, I thought it was exactly that. I thought initially it was a catch, and he was down at the 1-yard line. But also,
Paul says it was a
the
catch.
replay showed exactly what Jeff was saying. He did not survive.
But
it
you
all the
don't
way to the ground.
understand. It's the referees.
But here's the other ironic part of that. Let's not forget the week before their playoff game against the Lions. Before the Rams got away with the pass interference, the Cowboys also got away with the pass interference against them too, where Anthony Hitchens clearly pushed off on Brandon Pettigrew and should have been a first down for the Lions. They would have been in field goal range with, I think, 2.5 minutes to go. I think Dallas only had one timeout. And
Stafford
they
was
call it,
But you
quote
don't get
unquote,
it. It's the referees.
but they call
Stafford
it
was
face
cooking.
guarding, which, by the way, I've never heard that term since. Face guarding.
Or
they call
before.
it. And the Lions eventually had to punt, I believe
Did
it
that
was.
referee ever survive that?
I'm not sure who the referee was.
No, he
in
probably
that
got
game,
fired,
but-
I'd imagine.
But yeah, so all the Cowboy fans that complained about Des Bryant not catching the ball, remember they got practically aided the first playoff game where Detroit was winning by 4 points. Eventually, so they could have gotten a field goal. They could have extended the lead to 7. They could have ran out more clock. They could have gotten a first down. Meanwhile, the Cowboys got the drive to win the game.
Now, what call in any sport, actually in the NFL, that we've seen in the last 20 years that really stuck out to you that you completely disagree with?
It's not even close. It's not even close. There's only one. It's the most egregious thing that I've ever seen in sports anywhere. First of all, that's not a call. A Deflategate never happened. It wasn't real. It was proven in court.
But it could go either way.
That pass interference, that non-call of pass interference thing, the Rams Saints game is the most egregious thing I've ever seen in my life.
That was the game that really. Well, that was one of them. But is there any other things that happened in the last? No,
that's a pretty
20
big
years?
one because that screwed Drew Brees out of his second Super Bowl.
There was also one that I can remember. It was the Giants-Packers playoff game in 2011 that they called. I think they called an offensive pass interference or something like that on a Keem. It was either Keem Nicks or Victor Cruz. I don't remember. It was a long pass that the Giants should have had like a 40-yard pass on it. They reversed it. They call it 4th down, and the Packers got the ball back. And granted, the Giants blew them out anyway, so it's not really a factor of the game. But at the time of the game, it was the second quarter. It was very close. They called it egregious one. I believe it was a Keem Nicks.
I'll give you another egregious one that's actually unforgivable because it cost Tom Brady another Super Bowl. That Philly play was an illegal formation that they just ignored.
Right. They probably would have gotten a field goal, though, on that drive, too. So we don't know how the game would have ended up because they were a chip shot field goal range regardless. They lost by 8. So, but again, there's also 2-point conversions. There were other factors within that game.
But there was other things. Right. There was other things going on because they lost by 8 because they got another field goal because of the Tom Brady the fumble at the end of the game. They sealed it. Right.
So that's what I'm saying. We don't know how it would have ended up.
That game would have been with. And by the way, another touchdown. There was a Eagles receiver that landed out of bounds that they still called a touchdown.
Well, there was different replays that showed 2 different things. So I think that one was too tough to overturn in that one.
Well, that's fine. But how do you ignore an illegal formation?
I agree with that. But again, like I said, it probably.
Carl's saying that Calvin Johnson, no touchdown catch.
Right. Which was the first one of those big no catch.
Again, this is the whole thing. That was another one of those didn't survive the ground. Things,
right. That was the beginning of that whole phase where they really started nitpicking at that rule. And that's why the Des Bryant one didn't get called the same way. You have to call it the same way. So that's why his wasn't a catch. Calvin Johnson was the first one, which was actually probably the most impressive non-catch, one of the more impressive non-catches you'll see. Calvin Johnson.
But easily the worst one was the Saints one. That Rams Saints game. That's easily one of the most egregious things I've ever seen because they could have just need the football to run the clock down and kicked. Would that have even been a 25-yard field goal? They would have.
Right. No, they were at the 2-yard line. They were at the 2-yard line. That play, there was one more before the 2-minute warning too, and then the Rams had one timeout, so they could have stopped it twice, or they could have let him score too. But if you let him score, then you have to score a touchdown rather than getting the field goal.
While we're talking about Patriots Super Bowls, what about Pete Carroll deciding not to just run the ball in the end zone?
That was an outrageous call too. I remember that too.
But first of all, that has nothing to do with the refs. That's what you were talking about.
He said plays. I didn't know we were talking about refs.
Yeah, well, we're also talking about the outrageous calls.
And honestly, that's not as bad of a call as people are trying to make it seem, because you got to remember they only had one timeout left, right? They had spent a foolish timeout earlier.
You're at the goal line,
right?
Now, if you don't get it in, you can run the ball back,
right? But so here's the problem you had, Tyler. There was only 30 seconds left in the game, and you only have one timeout. So if you run the ball, there was like no time, Tyler.
There was, I think, 17 seconds. So they had the one timeout.
Right.
Now,
so it's second down, and you only have one timeout. So Pete Carroll's going, fine, we'll throw the ball, and if it's incomplete, the clock stops, and that way we can try to run it on third, and if we don't get in, call a timeout and still have another play.
Here's the bigger problem with that. Yes, that logic is true, but why not against a goal line defense, though, call an outside play to extend to Russell Wilson or like a screen pass or something like that?
Roll out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like something outside that a goal line defense is mostly crowding the middle anyway. Why are you throwing a slant pass? I think is even the bigger problem with that. If you're going to even just roll a pass play, do a rollout, do a tight end out route, a quick out, a zigzag, something like that.
How about
you can argue a different play call, but a pass is still a pass, and that's the pass they chose. So he was literally choosing a pass, going, well, if it's incomplete, then it is
But
what
he
it
threw
is.
it in the middle of the field.
Right, you're
where
going
everyone
against
was
a goal
standing.
line
That's
defense.
really dumb.
Right, but you don't understand. Go back to that play. He was open when Russell Wilson was doing that. You have to go and
Malcolm
and
Butler
look.
baited him in there.
But still, a
That's
slant
not even
pass
what
against a
happened.
goal line defense is not
Malcolm
ideal.
Butler literally said, "I knew the play. We practiced it all week in practice. It was the one play we knew in that situation they were going to run, and he had a beeline on the ball."
Right, because
he
if you go
baited
and watch
Russell Wilson in.
Right, because if you go and watch the Patriots documentary, it wasn't even all week. They were running that play and doing that exact same package in training camp because Ernie Adams, that freaking genius, knew their tendencies because Pete Carroll loves that play. So, okay, they studied their tendencies and said, oh, that's the play they like to run. Let's practice it. Yeah, that's how they knew it.
Which is fair. That it still doesn't make it a high percentage play in terms of a goal line defense versus
No,
a
if
slant
anything, he's
pass.
hurting his own point.
Exactly. I'm thinking.
It was a high percentage play, right? There were, I forget what the exact number was because it was like, there was something like 200 and something plays run that year from the 1 yard line, right? 200 and something pass plays, right? Do you know how many were intercepted? Just that one. So yeah, it is a high percentage play because you don't think anyone's going to intercept you from.
I'm not saying for an
that
interception
distance.
though. I'm saying for the success rate in terms of it being an incompletion.
But it is a successful play. It is. It's a quick slant. Those are some of the most successful plays that there are. So it's a high percentage play that also doesn't take a lot of time off the clock.
Okay.
You're talking about, oh, I want to do a play action and roll some dude out. Well, you only got 17 seconds. Throw him.
All right, so throw if you no one's open, throw it away. That only takes what 3 seconds off the clock. That's still not a big deal. It's second.
Sorry, no. Any NFL play, especially when you're rolling out, that's an 8-second play.
But let me ask you this:
on the goal line, no. Not on the
Let me
goal
ask
line.
you this. Hold
No.
on. Let's seriously. Let's look at this. Right? You say there's a timeout left, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, they only had one, right?
Okay. So you're clearly at that point not thinking, let's give Tom Brady the ball back. Okay. So why don't you run the ball, even if you get stuffed, right? 'Cause I'm not saying Marshawn Lynch definitely gets in. Let's say you run the ball and get stuffed, right?
Okay.
You're immediately calling the timeout,
right?
Obviously. Why
Right,
not
which makes
then
third
throw the
down
pass?
an automatic pass play.
Carl thinks
which makes
Speedy
the
is
third
wrong,
down
by
a
the
pass
way.
play.
Sure. But like you said, it's a high percentage play then, right? And if anything, you're closer to it. So maybe you don't even throw it in the middle. Maybe you throw it all the way outside.
Hold on. No, see, you're going always in the positive, right? Because you're going, oh, you'll get it from closer. What's to say Dante Hightower doesn't shuck a blocker and hit him at the 4? And you're going
Opens
backwards.
up the field then.
Not from that distance. Nothing opens up the field from that distance.
No,
you're
but
still so close.
If you're 4 yards back, right? Because let's say now you're right. Let's say that botched a snap and they go back to the 4 or the 5 yard line. Now the Patriots can't put 10 guys in the box. They got to have.
Sure they can.
Well, I wouldn't do that. But anyway,
Those receivers weren't great at that time. They probably could have.
But my point being, one guy gets open, Wilson finds him.
But
that Super Bowl's over.
Right, but this is what you're doing, right? Is you're saying, oh, what a horrible call. But regardless of you don't like that pass play, you don't like it. But they had to have a pass in there because that's exactly what you're doing.
I
You're
agree with you.
preferring
There
they
should have
run
been
on
a pass
second
play in
and
it.
throw on third. But Pete Carroll was like, screw it. We got to have a pass play. Let's throw it here, save the timeout, and we'll have Marshawn run it twice when it's incomplete. No one had threw an interception at that point from the 1. Right? No one
Correct
had.
me if I'm wrong.
So,
right? But it was not a field goal game, right?
No,
I think they were down 4.
It was a 4. It was
Right.
28-24.
So even if you can't sell for the field goal, so why are you playing as if you need 4 downs? You get 4 downs here. You don't get it in, you lose.
Right, which is also why
if
I'm
you
not
really want to be specific, Russell Wilson should have put his head down and ran.
Which is also why I think the time
he's
isn't as
too much
big of
of
a
a girl.
factor anyway.
No,
where
that's not true.
If you do call an outside passing play, I'm not saying to roll out for like 8 seconds like you're saying, Jeff.
I would have given it to Marshawn Lynch.
At least do a design rollout play that maybe takes 4 seconds. It's not 7 seconds left. It's one
Let's
play.
say Jeff is even right, and you don't want to risk the handoff getting screwed up and going 4 yards back. Wilson puts his head down and jumps.
But
you're at least at the goal line.
Right, but here's the difference, Tyler. You're still admitting that in that whole scenario, because you had the first down is gone. We're working with 3 downs here, second, third, and fourth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're still conceding that in any scenario where you get stopped, there still has to be a pass involved in those last 3 downs.
But you don't even know that? Because what if your 2 rushes before that literally put you within a cough of the end zone? You're literally
timeout
because you can't take the chance. Because what if somebody listen, because it's part of the rules. What if one of your offensive linemen gets hurt? If it's 2 rushes and it's on the second one, you get stopped the first time, they call the timeout, and then you get stopped the second time. Guess what? 10-second runoff, game over.
Yeah.
You don't even get a 4th down.
Also factor in the fact that if you get stuffed twice, you're going to have to spike the ball on one of those downs too. So odds are you're not going to run it on 3rd down.
Right, so you can't spike it, and you only have 1 timeout in one of those
I'll
3
see you
downs.
next week, bud. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, so
all I'm saying
Jeff's
is,
right in that sequence where there has to be at least 1 pass play.
There has to be at least 1 pass in there.
Save it
So
for
they
your
chose
last
second down to run it up.
gasp.
I agree on that. I'm more nitpicking at the fact that it was a slant route against a goal line defense.
Right, but it doesn't matter if you don't like
And not for
call it
nothing,
whatever. There had
you're
to be a
crazy
pass
too.
in there.
Because Doug Baldwin at that time was a good wide
was a
receiver.
breakthrough receiver. He wasn't great.
Stop it.
He was
Stop
great.
it.
Right, but it doesn't
Stop it
matter.
now.
That was
Even in that
stop it.
scenario,
He was a rookie.
there has to be
4
there
years.
has to be a
Doug Baldwin
pass
was
play
good.
in one of those downs in that scenario.
I get it. I agree with you. Maybe
Right,
you.
so he
but
chose second down to pass on. It just is what it is, dude.
I don't know. It cost him a Super Bowl, and
It's not.
and
Well,
cost
first of
him a
all, all I was
dynasty.
saying was
He
it
lost
wasn't
the
as
team
bad
because
of
of it.
Right, but hold on. All I
That's
was
what's
saying
really
to you
traumatic
was,
about it.
all I'm saying to you was it wasn't as bad of a logic as people make it out to be. They're like, oh, that's the world's worst call. Not when you look at the game scenario, because there had to be a pass in that sequence. Just so happened it was second down. Because if you run the ball and don't get in, you're wasting your timeout. Then the whole world knows you're throwing it on 3rd down because you can't risk another run because the clock will run out on you.
And now, because the funny part is people forget about the fact that their insane Ricardo Lockett catch before that, that play.
That catch was freaking amazing.
Amazing.
Edelman's
It's always going to be forgotten.
Edelman has the greatest catch. That catch on the sidelines, the second greatest.
It's the
catch.
luckiest.
That thing,
Dude,
and that was perfect coverage by Malcolm Butler. Perfect.
You know what's hilarious? The 2 luckiest catches in Super Bowl history both come against the Patriots. What's luckier, the Ricardo Lockett catch or the David Tyree bubblegum stuck to the helmet thing?
Tyrese, because Rodney Harrison's one strong mother effer, and he knocks that ball out 9 out of 10
Think
times.
about how crazy those 2 catches are, and they're both against the Patriots. Like, the Patriots have horrible luck coming down.
I think in terms of the
Unless
actual
the Jewish guy catches it, because then the Jewish guy catches it.
Jeff, I think of the actual catch, it's probably the Lockett one. In terms of the whole play, it was definitely Tyree. Because remember, Eli Manning also had to escape Jarvis Green, too. And Jarvis Green, too. Both of them had him, and Eli was able to somehow escape. We know Eli Manning's
He's lucky he didn't get called down.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
he's
that was,
really
that
lucky
was
he
very
didn't get
close.
blown.
But
he would have been down if his shirt hadn't ripped. Dude. That's how he got away. His undershirt.
Do you guys remember roughing the passer with the Patriots and the Chiefs in the AFC title game, which cost
that was Chris Jones went offsides.
Right. That was D4.
No, it was.
Hold on.
Chris Jones got the roughing the passer.
Hold on. I'll give you the roughing the passer because he just brushed his helmet and that's weak.
Exactly.
Tyler, you bring up that offsides one more time. He was offsides. He lined up offsides very clearly. You cannot like it because you don't like the Patriots or people don't like the Patriots.
What?
But rules
I
are
love
still
the
rules. And he was
I am
offsides.
a Patriot defender.
He was offsides.
I've defended the Patriots more than anyone else.
Dude, he was definitely offsides.
I know.
It
was really retarded that he was offsides.
Yeah, that's whatever, but that's not one of the horrible calls of all time.
No,
That's
it's a horrible, stupid play that cost him a Super Bowl visit.
Yeah.
And got him traded.
Yeah, he also got a big contract off of that, too, though.
Well,
yeah, the contract is what got him traded.
But that was a call that cost the Chiefs for going into the Super Bowl.
That's right. Yeah, that was egregious.
But those aren't agreed. That's not an egregious call because there's video of them lined up off sides. Like the Saints.
No, I think I was referring to the Chris Jones.
I'm talking about the roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Which caught with the Tom Brady where I don't know if you remember it. It was the
fine then I guess it evens out, right? Because we got the Philly play and the Patriots should have won that one. God damn it.
But again, the time of the game, the situation,
I'm just bringing up outrageous calls that cost teams a chance to win a Super Bowl, and
nothing's worse than that Rams Saints thing. That thing's the worst thing I've ever seen.
For sure.
Which they changed the rule, and then they changed the rule back after that, which makes no sense.
Right?
It never made sense.
It's Roger Goodell.
Wow.
It makes perfect sense.
Well, who would have thought that out of all the commissioners, and I've said this over and over the last after the last 5 years, I would say Rob Manfred and Roger Goodell, you can argue, are the two, they go back and forth, are the two worst commissioners. And Gary Bettman, who everybody hated. Gary Bettman has been the best commissioner in sports. He really has been. He really has been. And that's not saying much.
Right.
It's not saying much. I mean, Adam Silver.
For my money, I'll take Goodell.
Adam Silver, though, is becoming more like Rob Manfred than people think.
And Adam Silver is becoming a little bitch, when it comes to the players.
Dana White's up there, too.
Oh, Dana White is the worst.
He
is the worst. He is the worst. He doesn't pay his fighters. It's horrendous. I think
really, NASCAR's fantastic, and the PGA Tour
for junkets.
For junkets, I love it.
If you're toothless and like Jack Daniels, watch me go fast and turn left.
I don't have my headset on. I just happened to hear what he said.
Oh my God! I will say this: when you go back and we can argue, and when I went to the
this is what I don't even get though. How do people consider NASCAR drivers even athletes? How is that even, dude? A car is doing the work.
I say that too, but
apparently your
driving is a sport, isn't it? They do as sports cars.
They say competitive driving like that. You have to have cardio.
No,
your lungs
your
are
reflexes
stretched out.
Yeah, your reflexes.
I don't know.
Yeah, your reflexes have to be next level. But how many times are
cards?
Dude, they're in a car sweating for 3 hours.
Cards,
right?
playing cards is a sport.
Poker?
Yeah, that's a sport,
buddy. Don't get me started. On
people say that's
poker.
a sport.
Oh hell yeah, it's a hobby. It's not a sport.
No, it's a sport.
No,
it's under. Go look it up.
No, I'm not saying. In
Playing
my mind,
poker is a sport.
I'll never consider it.
It's eligible on each ESPN The Ocho. It's a sport.
It's a sport.
But I don't get.
Also gets women's water polo from Brazil. By the way, can we go to Brazil?
Can we go to Brazil?
I
you have a passport?
He's a pervert.
What do you mean? What's perverted?
Oh,
what's so wrong?
But that's the thing. How are NASCAR drivers athletes? The car does all the work. All the work. It's an engine. It's gasoline. It's the driver. It's ridiculous. NASCAR drivers athletes. Get out of here. NASCAR drivers athletes. Stupid sport for toothless humans.
Watch. This is gonna sound very controversial, maybe, but the best thing that ever happened in NASCAR was the Bubba Wallace incident. They are going to be huge in the next 5 years. Huge.
What are you talking about?
Now you've got people putting money into it. Bubba Wallace is going to be in everything. LeBron's endorsing him now, and once LeBron's in something, he's going to get mainstream attention.
And who's Bubba? He's a driver?
Bubba Wallace?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know?
No,
all right. Well,
I don't know anything about it.
The best thing about Bubba Wallace is going to
is he's the guy that they found a noose in his...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Which wasn't a noose. It was literally a...
Give me a break.
Little
it was a
band
pull rope
to
that they tied into a noose.
Yes.
It was a noose-looking thing, but it's a common thing idiots in that sport do. Is the pull rope for the garage doors? Is that what they'll do?
Oh, God.
So it is a common thing, but I mean, who's doing that? Toothless people.
And he was an African American
toothless.
driver, right?
Right.
That's probably why.
Right, and you can understand why that symbolism would, I don't know, be disturbing.
I mean, NASCAR was big for a long, long time. I mean, Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Jarrett.
I mean, that's when I was watching it. But to me, race car driving is not honestly.
It's just go fast and turn left.
I don't look at it as a sport either.
Because bad things happen when you turn right. Ask Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, damn. Okay. Woo! I have a wedding to go to, and before God smites Jeff, I'm leaving.
How's that a smite? He turned right, he hit a wall. That's what happens. You're supposed to turn left.
That actually probably saved hundreds of Tony Stewart killed somebody.
When?
Yeah, but didn't Tony Stewart? Yeah, he ran that dude over when they was chasing him. And that was like buggy cars, though.
I don't remember that.
No.
Dude, he was racing in some dark track.
Boom.
Really?
Yeah, he was racing in like buggies or something like that. Some weird track racing, right?
Isn't that manslaughter?
Yeah.
Isn't that manslaughter? Did he go to jail for that?
They tried to go after him because dude, Tony Stewart did turn into him.
So how did he not go to jail for manslaughter?
Because Tony Stewart wrecked the dude. And so the dude got out of his car like a NASCAR tough guy, like an idiot, right? And was going to like throw his helmet at the car because that always works, right? And Tony Stewart like kind of turned into him a little and hit him and killed him.
Oh my God!
And Tony Stewart's excuse was,
I was
avoiding debris on the track.
Yeah, okay.
He should have went to jail for that. That's killing someone.
Tony Stewart's an asshole. But hey, what are you gonna do?
And Jimmy Johnson, he dominated.
And think about it, he's a hero in that community.
6 straight
the
cups,
toothless love him.
The toothless loves him.
They do. All those uneducated.
You're a big NASCAR
juckets,
fan.
They love him.
Like.
No, I'm not.
He's my hero.
I'm not. It was the only thing that my ex's family would watch.
Hold on one second. Your ex's family would only watch NASCAR. That
I don't want to talk about it.
that explains your ex.
Yeah,
that explains a lot from your ex.
Yeah, it's actually very.
What?
Yeah.
Well, she has.
You answered so many questions with that one sentence.
Hey, listen, it wasn't my house. They made it very clear I get no say.
That's pathetic, by the way.
So
disgusting. Do you know that he was paying 90% of the bills, and they were telling him how to live in his house? You believe that crap?
That's what happens when you're a cuck.
Damn. Says the Virgin.
Oh.
Says the Virgin Mary.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Good one. Good one, Taylor.
Which one is his?
I'm not telling you.
Why? I'll find it.
What are you talking about? Which one is what?
Tyler is trying to play with the board, and I'm not letting him.
I just feel like it'd be great not to hear Jeff's mouth for the next 10 minutes.
Speedy, you can totally let him hang up on me. That's good. That's how you know that you've hurt his feelings. He said, I can't listen to the truth anymore.
No, but
Jeff,
if you knew,
I'm the opposite. I really don't care about being told the truth.
Jeff, I used to tell Tyler all the time. I said his ex was just absolutely disgusting to him, and her family was
they're
horrible.
all horrible people. Stay single and smash them all. They're all terrible people.
I can't even hear.
No, he says stay single and smash a bunch of them. Stay away from
dating. Is like growing mushrooms, bro. Feed them shit and keep them in the
Listen,
dark. That's how it goes.
Dating is like what is it? Put your headset on so he can tell you what he said.
I don't want to hear.
Just tell him again. Say it again. Say it
Go
again.
ahead, Jeff. I'm actually listening.
I said dating is like growing mushrooms. Just feed them shit and grow them and keep them in the dark. That's the best way.
Oh, I thought weed would be better. Keep it moist and in the dark.
Wow, that's a whole completely different story.
Oh.
Yeah, dude.
No,
dude, stay single as long as you can. It's a great life. How many, like, very, very seriously, how many happily married people do you see walking around? In
Zero. No, that's not.
That's what I'm saying.
One.
That's what I'm saying. What are you, like, trying to get in line to be amongst the unhappy? Here's the other thing. Do you know 60% of marriages end in divorce?
Sounds about right.
The other 4 end in
it's actually
suicide?
this past year,
so now,
66%.
So 66%, right? So now think about this. Me, Tyler, Speedy, Errol, and the Beeve, we're all going skydiving. Guess what? 3 of us are dead because 66% of the parachutes ain't opening. You still going?
No, I never even thought of that. That's a good point.
Right. Oh, Brittany.
And by the way, in the divorce, you're going to lose half your shit. You trying to get in line to lose half your shit and give it away?
More than half your shit. More than half. Well, you're in Florida. In New York, it's more than half. You basically have to start all over.
So you're right. You're going to lose half your shit. You're going to pay child support or alimony or right, and that's why these people walk around miserable, because they all have those obligations. Stay single and keep plowing.
I like how Jeff speaks. I like the words that come out of this man's mouth.
Jeff,
I mean, I don't even know why you're like trying to make it all that serious with this shit. What do you want to get in line to be amongst the?
I was there for 10 years.
Maybe that's why you are the way you are. So much is coming out to explain why you're so bitter in life.
Yeah, maybe.
in a horrible situation for 10 years. You got to get up every day and look at that hairline.
Oh!
It's one depressing incident after another with you. One depressing one after another.
At least Jeff understands. So at least he gets...
dude.
Can I have that pen back?
Now I know why you drink Jack Daniels. It's actually because you hate yourself.
Jeff, what did you call that the first time? Amateur whiskey or something like
No,
that?
he said it's the poor man's version of something.
Okay.
I never figured out.
I remember cracking up the first
remember.
time you said it, though.
I still can't remember what the actual drink
It's
you told
whiskey
me.
for the poors.
Right.
Okay.
What was the whiskey you told me?
Oh, there's a bunch of great ones, man.
No, but you named one specifically.
Oh, there's I'm a Basil Hayden's guy. Go get you some Basil Hayden's.
Is it strong?
Dude, it's no stronger than the rest. It's tastier and smoother. It's got less impurities in it. It's just, when you distill something more,
what that means, but yes,
when you distill something more, you take the impurities out, right? So when you go and buy that $10 bottle of vodka and it tastes like gas and it tastes like gasoline, it's because it's only been distilled once. The more times you distill it, the more impurities you take out of it. So when you get it to 3 times distilled, it'll be nice and smooth and have the taste of the oak barrels and be terrific, right? That Jack Daniels distilled one time. Why? Because it's for the pores.
I'm not even saying this to deflect off me, but I swear to God, it looks like Errol bedazzled his shoulder.
Do you know? Like, think about this, Tyler, for a second.
Yeah, it's just a glare. It's the way it looks on the full screen.
Oh, that's fun.
Think about this for a second, Tyler. Every other person you see at a NASCAR, because you're forced to watch the NASCAR, is wearing a Jack Daniels shirt. Do you think people that can't afford a dentist with those T-shirts on is alcohol you should be drinking?
I don't know. I just assumed because everyone wore the shirt, it was a good selling thing. Like I just.
It is good selling because people in Tennessee have no money and it's for the poors, and they love them some NASCAR.
Oh, Juan Soto went 3 for 3 again, 2 home runs. Not good though.
Juan.
Not any good.
Nobody said that he wasn't good.
Not top 5.
I don't think he's a top 5 player.
Anyway, thank you, Jeff.
Splurge a little bit, Tyler. It's a more expensive bottle, but it'll be a more enjoyable drink. Go get you a bottle of Basil Havens.
Basil Havens.
Basil Havens or Bagel Hagens?
Basil.
Basil.
I thought a whiskey
Basil,
company
like the
should have
herb.
up for a bagel.
Basil, like the herb.
Basil Havens.
Oh, okay.
A little
Basil Hayden's
herb.
delicious.
A little herb for you.
I'm hoping that they have Basil Hagens at this wedding.
Go get you some Basil Hayden's and you'd be like,
when you go over there, I want you to say, I want some Basil Haven.
Right, I'm going to.
Yeah, no, you should. You're gonna enjoy it more than because, dude. How do you think those people got toothless? That's what that alcohol does. It knocks you the teeth right out of your skull, bro. That's how I judge things. When a toothless person goes, "That's my favorite thing," I go, "I'm never having that again."
Well, that's not fair. Cocaine's an excellent time.
That's completely fair.
Cocaine's a really good time.
Right, but generally those people have enough money to take care of themselves. That ain't a cheap habit.
That's true.
That is true.
It isn't a cheap habit, that's for sure.
And you've never seen a toothless cokehead. Why? Because they have the money to take care of themselves. Now you do see toothless crackheads. The crack is different than coke. Just because the coke is in the crack doesn't mean the same thing.
This is great.
And those people are the toothless.
This is great information.
All I know
by the way,
is
to our sports radio show.
Oh, yeah.
Let's reach out to Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, shit. Well, then, before God smites everybody, I'm out of here. I have the wedding.
Well, Jeff, thank you for calling, bud. We'll talk in the next couple of days, man.
Yes, Errol, I'm very glad that this is how we ended our anniversary. Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, yes, loved it. Enjoyed it very immensely, yes.
I love your continuing.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, I found it. It was 7 and 8.
Well, there you
God
go.
damn it.
Jeff, thanks, man. Yeah, he's talking about the channel that you're on.
He's trying to play around with the board.
He's trying to get rid of you. So, anyways.
Toothless junket.
What did he say?
He called you a toothless junket.
Oh, that's not what your wife said.
Oh. Oh, well, I think Jeff is gone.
Well,
Yeah, it's gone. All right, you actually timed it right this time, Tyler.
It was great.
I mean, listen, I hung up on Jeff on my radio show more than he can even count.
I think this was a very funny show. It really was, and really when we went through the different thoughts of the 21st century of teams and all that other stuff, defense and all that, I think it was a very good show because we added a little different thoughts to what's going on in sports. And I'm sorry, what are you laughing at?
Ben
now?
says
What are you giggling at?
Ben says the entire '90s Cowboys was on drugs. Yes, that's about right.
You know what? Speedy giggles about everything. It's like everything a giggle to him. He's laughing at everything and giggling. It's kind of annoying.
All I know is I don't know why you got so mad at me for laughing at the commercial. I thought it was hysterical.
Oh, what are you talking about? The Brett Favre?
Oh, it was great.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah. What are you laughing at? I was like, oh, the TV. It's funny.
They're saying Odell Beckham's closer to return. He'll probably play this
I
week.
hope so. I need him to come out and bowl. DJ Moore is against me this week.
He did have full practice this week, so
he did.
on Thursday. So I think he's going to play.
If only he was still in blue and white. Thanks a lot, Dave Gettleman. I guess.
Yep.
Well, Dave Gettleman is not one of those smart guys, that's for sure.
What? No, he drinks Basil Higgins.
There you go. He's got no teeth.
No, he's got teeth. He's just got no brain.
You know, he's got that wacky Boston accent. You ever hear his wacky?
I try not to listen to that man talk.
He's got some. It's
Judge
so
has an
funny.
accent, though.
Who?
Judge?
Judge who? Aaron Judge?
Joe Judge.
Do you think he does?
It's not as drastic as Gettleman's, though.
Gettleman has a deep Boston accent.
Boston?
Yeah, he's from Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a deep Boston
Oh,
accent.
wait a minute.
Like Jeff is from
Hold
Boston.
on.
He doesn't
Wait a
have-
minute. We're letting a mass hole run a New York team?
Yes, unfortunately, we
Oh,
are.
God.
You didn't know he was
We
from
are.
Boston?
No.
And we're letting an expatriates coach
Jesus.
us.
Well, hold on. Hold on just a second. Joe Judge, I like Joe Judge.
I'm not
But
against Joe Judge.
just think
It's
about this for a
coincidence.
second. You have a moron from Boston running the team. You have a moron running the offense and Jason Garrett. How well does this shape out for Daniel Jones and them?
How well does it shape out?
Not very well.
Who knows?
Not. All right.
I honestly, Daniel Jones is the least of their problems right now.
I said Daniel Jones and them.
I
He's the
know.
quarterback
I'm just
for the team. It's his
saying.
Team.
If there's anything right now, the problem with the Giants is where is their defense? That's where a team that everybody thought was going to be not weak in the defensive side of the ball. They have not looked good.
Oh.
So
Terry McLaurin will do that too.
yeah.
Anyway, boys.
Yeah,
Anyways.
so will J.D. McKissick, unfortunately.
Anyways,
He had one big catch.
That's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back on Wednesday of next week. We will get into all of week 3 in
What is
football. Wednesday. What are you talking about?
I won't
Wednesday.
be here Wednesday.
Oh, why? What's going on Wednesday?
I don't know. I just feel like not being here.
You're an idiot. Of
How
course.
did that? That might be why.
You're here. Anyways, Tyler with his NASCAR thoughts. Interesting.
Oh.
Interesting takes, by the way.
I don't watch NASCAR.
You know a lot more about NASCAR than I thought. I mean,
I know a lot more about a lot of things than you thought.
No, NASCAR would be something that I'm very impressed with on some of your thoughts with NASCAR, because I used to follow NASCAR a lot. I was a big Dale Earnhardt fan growing up, and he always had him and Dale Jarrett were back and forth with each other.
The UPS car.
Yeah, so I remember that, and those two guys like to kill each other. It was like Days of Thunder when you
Kyle Petty.
Yeah,
Richard Petty. That's a great movie.
What,
That's
Days of Thunder?
a great movie. Yeah.
Days of Thunder. I've watched it a million times.
By the
Anyways,
way, real quick, hey, Universal, do you want to drop Top Gun, or are we gonna wait another year and a half?
no, it's coming out. I think it is coming out at Christmas time. They pushed it off.
Why?
And they're calling it Maverick.
Right.
It's Top Gun 2.
Yeah, but it's called Maverick.
I get it. I don't care. It's Top Gun 2.
So it's going to be interesting. It definitely. And I heard the reason why they're pushing it off was because of the whole movie situation that right now with the COVID-19, there's not many people. If you look at the numbers, the numbers aren't very good in the movie theaters. Right. So that's why they pushed it off.
That's because the states of
No, it's across the country.
No, I understand. But that's because across this country, you got morons that actually think that you need to be vaccinated to go
And there's
outside.
also more streaming services
And could the
available.
FBI find this guy, Brian
Laundrie
already?
Yeah, he's about as dirty as his laundry.
I mean, everybody keeps saying that he's dead. He's not dead. I'm telling you, he's alive. Live and kicking.
Here's the only thing that makes me think he's not alive.
What are you, simple minds
I think
now?
he killed himself in the Winnebago.
You think he killed himself?
In the Winnebago.
I don't think he killed himself.
I think he drove off a cliff. Because I think he threw her off a cliff.
I don't think so. I think he's alive.
I hope he's alive.
I think.
I hope he's alive, and they let the Petito family
Why would
beat
he
the crap out
run?
of him.
Why would he run if he wasn't alive? You know what I mean? Nobody runs. And if you kill
But
yourself,
what if he didn't run? What if he's legit hiding?
If you were going to kill no, that's what I'm saying. If you were going to kill yourself, I would have just went into my house and shot myself in the head. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would have done.
But maybe this moron actually didn't think she'd be found.
No, I don't think he killed himself. He ran off.
I hope he didn't kill himself.
I'm telling you.
I want him to be brought here so her family can beat the shit out of him. And then they
Well, he
try
wouldn't
him.
be brought over here. They would try him over there in Wyoming because that's where he killed her. So, and I think the death penalty is over there in Wyoming.
Oh, that would be great. I mean, the state of 5 people gets to decide whether or not.
And remember,
dies.
he hasn't lived here in Blue Point in Long Island for like 3 years.
He's from here?
He's
I thought he was
Blue
from Florida.
Point. No, he's from Blue Point.
No, the call was saying yesterday that his parent or the girl's parents were from there, I think.
No, they're both from Blue
both of them?
Point.
Okay, both of them.
Brian went to Blue Point at high school, and so did she.
Okay. I think
I've
Tyler.
never
I think Carl was saying the parents though were from Florida, not.
They're both from. Yeah, they moved to Florida
Yeah,
after he graduated.
Right.
That's what
After he graduated,
I know
from high
they were
school.
living in Florida together.
Yes, but they're both from Blue Point.
He's a piece of shit, and he needs. He's
He's not dead. I guarantee you.
I hope he's not dead.
I guarantee you.
I hope he's not dead.
Because if I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill myself, and that's
Right.
it.
You would
know
have
what I
killed
mean?
yourself
Yes.
after you killed
You
her.
don't run off and disappear and
Right.
hide.
Right.
So I'm telling you, he's alive. They're
where the hell
going
is
to
he
find
hiding?
him. Who knows?
He's probably hiding in plain sight.
He's definitely he couldn't have run away that far. I mean,
He's out of the state. of
there's
Florida.
no way
He's out of Florida.
yeah, there's no way he's going to get into Canada. There's no way with the cameras that they have over there, and there's no way he's going to get into Mexico. Now that they have an APP on him, so he's somewhere in the United States. So, and I think eventually they're going to find him. There's no way he doesn't have enough money to hide. Somebody's going to see him, and he's going to probably try to disguise himself. He's bald. He'll probably try to grow his hair or wear a wig or something like that.
Why you gotta bring the B word up? Bald people did nothing to you.
I'm telling you what he's going to try to do.
No, but it makes sense if you're trying to.
He's going to
make yourself
try
disguise.
What if he can't grow his hair back, huh?
Well,
What
then
if
he
he
wears a
has
wig.
to be bald?
Then you get a wig.
Then you get a wig, or you get.
But you can't. To my point, he can't order anything because that name is gonna alert everybody.
You can order something on somebody else's Amazon.
But who's gonna? Who could he be talking to that's enabling this?
You could find something.
You don't think? You don't think he's in connected with his friends?
Hell no.
Oh, I
'Cause
do.
I need them to understand too that if you are talking to this guy and the FBI finds out, you're going to jail too.
Oh yeah, obviously,
probably
but-
right, but he can get a track phone where they can't track it, and that's what he probably has. You go into a Walmart or wherever you go with the track phone where you can't track the phone.
Whoever at this point would help that son of a bitch, you should drop dead too.
Well,
obviously, yeah, they're gonna. If there's associates involved, yeah, they would get caught too.
No, it was just that. And a matter of fact, people are coming out now saying, yeah, they what the hell's the word?
Had help?
We camped right next to them. We didn't know that they were that bad.
Well, yeah, they're gonna say that.
Now they're
but
saying
that
he's a
doesn't
drug
mean-
addict.
Okay,
Where did
Was
that
he-
come from?
Was he a drug addict? I don't
They're
even know.
saying he was on drugs.
What kind of drugs was he
I
taking?
don't know. I don't know. I didn't read the article. I tried not to really talk about this. But
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about drugs that he was doing. Was he doing like heavy duty drugs?
no, probably like hallucinogenics, mushrooms.
Yeah, but it's not nothing that's gonna kill you.
No.
It's gonna kill
no.
somebody. That you're gonna kill
Well,
somebody.
here's the thing, and while we go to the drug portion of the show,
Yeah.
so depending on the drug you take,
Mhm.
it could give you a chemical imbalance that you just do something.
Yes, but even if you did mushrooms, you know what you're doing.
He knew what he. I'm not saying.
yeah.
I'm not giving him an out by any means.
Yeah.
What I'm just saying is, something might have made him snap that wouldn't normally have made him snap. Like she might have been sarcastic or. By the way, this is 100% his fault,
Mhm.
and I've seen a lot of people say this. Men have to do a better job of treating men because this is becoming a problem.
Men have to do what was it? What
Men have to do a better job of training men because
training
his
men?
father.
Yeah.
His father did a terrible job. Terrible. Awful.
Yeah, but if you read the story about him, he was a good kid in school. He was very quiet, very
That's what
likable
they all say
person.
before they go shoot up a building.
A very likable person. I mean, he had a lot of friends.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
I'm just telling you what they said.
No, I get it. But this is the cliche thing. Not your fault, but this is the cliche thing. Oh, I didn't know he'd do that.
Well,
I didn't think that.
Again, we don't know.
He might have been a loner. They might not even really be his friends.
No, he had a lot of friends. And what I've read, and I know a lot of people from Blue Point, so that knew him and knew her. So they.
That's right.
Yeah,
right.
I know a lot of people. I used to hang out with a lot of Blue Point people, and they're younger than me, obviously. But Blue Point is a small town, so everybody knows.
Right down Nichols Road.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody over there. So Blue Point and Bayport are two towns very close to one another. And what I heard was Brian was very likable. He was very quiet. He didn't have a million friends, but he had a good amount of friends. And what's her name again? Oh, Gabby. She was very likable, very friendly person. She worked at Double M Deck in the summertime. I think I remember her from Double M Deck, if I'm not mistaken. And very sweet girl, very likable person, very friendly person. And both of them were high school sweethearts. So they've been together for a while. So it's a crazy story. It really is. And I'm wondering if he actually killed the other two ladies that were found.
I think so.
You know, that's interesting. That's an interesting, because if you think it was a 12-mile radius, and they said they were killed around the same time.
And he looks a lot like Chris Watts.
You think so?
Oh,
Chris Watts is disgusting. That man he's worse. Chris Watts is worse than Brian. A lot worse. Did you see what he did to his daughters?
I'm just saying.
I mean, that's disgusting what he did to his daughters. He put his daughters in an oil. He pushed his daughters into the top of an oil dispensary. Okay, that's where, and they had to open up the oil to take his daughters out. He killed it. He first of all, he tortured. He smothered his daughters and then put them in oil. And then his wife and his son that was in the stomach, in his wife's stomach, and she was 7 or 8 months pregnant. He killed her and then buried her within, 150 feet of the oil dispensary. Buried her.
At least he's consistent.
You want to talk about disgusting?
Well,
Christopher Watts.
They're both.
Yes, but Christopher Watts is a hell of a lot worse than Brian.
I'm not arguing anything about that.
A hell of a lot.
They look very similar.
That's fine.
Like they're probably like cousins or uncles or something.
That's fine, but Christopher Watts was a disgusting piece of shit.
They both are.
I'm not saying that he
I just want people to understand we're saying both of them are.
I think what he did to his daughters was disgusting. Absolutely disgraceful. His little girls, and he completely smothered them and had one of them watch him smother the other one, and then went back into the car after he put one of his daughters in the dispensary. He went back and smothered her and then put her into the oil, all at the same time. And they knew what was going on. These girls they were babies, but they knew what was going on. It's disgusting.
Where's the wife?
What do you mean, where's the wife?
He had to have killed the wife first.
Yeah, they did. He upstairs. You never seen the Christopher Watts story?
No.
Oh, man. It's disgusting. That all because of a woman. Because he was saying, get a divorce. Why are you killing your family?
Yeah, now you're not getting anything.
Yeah, no, because he was trying to win some money, because he thought by killing them he was going to get a life insurance policy and he could run away. He thought he was going to get away with all this. No common sense whatsoever.
Well,
man is an idiot. And if you're going to kill somebody, you don't kill them that way. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, it's just stupid. It just absolutely.
How to get away with murder without murder?
No, I'm just saying it's just dumb. It's very, very dumb way he did it.
It look like an accident.
I'm not even saying that. It's just. If you think that if he thought and any thought in his if Brian thinks he's going to get away with not being caught and not being found, the FBI will eventually find him. He doesn't have a lot of money. And
the longer this goes on, though, the more you can assume he's dead.
I don't think he's dead.
I don't
think they think he's dead either. Because if they thought he was dead,
they
wouldn't even waste their time. They know he's alive. They don't know where he is. And I think they know that his parents know where he is, but they're not going to say anything because that's their son and that's their baby, and that's
they're pieces of shit.
But it's their baby, and that's what a parent is going to do.
Well, that's great. Then you can rot in jail.
Absolutely, They're just as bad as their son is. But just remember, that is their flesh and blood. That's their baby. Just like Gabby is the Pintano's baby.
Right.
You know, and that's
one's wrong and one's right.
Yeah, well,
That's
it's sad what happened to Gabby, no question. I want to give a shout out to her family. May she rest in peace. And my heart goes out to her and her family. It really does. Nobody deserves to be murdered or killed like that. It's disgusting what he did. I would like to know what he did and why he did it. You know what I mean? That's the thing that really stands out to me. Oh, he knows. Oh, he definitely knows. There has to be a motive on why he did it. I really believe if it's true, he did kill those two ladies. She knows that he killed those two ladies. She told him that she's going to tell the authorities, and he needed to get rid of her. And that's what I think is happening.
Now, my question
I think it was a hate crime.
My question would be, why would Gabby, after seeing him kill two people, stay with him and not leave?
Well, how is she going to how is she going to run away from him? He was driving her truck. They're in Wyoming. How do we know that he didn't take away her phone? They never found her phone.
Right.
How do we know he didn't take her phone? How do we know that he didn't?
So you think he killed all three of them in one day?
Absolutely. I think he had to do with all three of their deaths. I think he killed the two ladies first because I believe it's a hate crime. They were two lesbians. I think he killed both of them, or they said something to him, or did something to him, or whatever that pissed him off, and he went in there and he killed them. And then she knew that he did that, and she said that she was going to tell the authorities. He took her over there to the mountains or wherever, and he murdered her. I believe he strangled her. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, I think he threw him off a mountain." No, I don't think he threw her off a mountain. I think he strangled her. It's the most common way of killing somebody, especially a woman who's not strong enough to fight it. So I think he strangled her because I haven't heard anything about gun. They didn't find any like straight out guns.
No, I don't think he
Now those two ladies did get shot. Those two ladies did get shot. Now he could have gotten rid of the gun when he killed them. You know, because when the cops pulled him over, those ladies were dead. You know what I mean? That's why they were fighting.
That's why Gabby was shook.
Yeah, that's exactly why I think Gabby was shook. And Gabby didn't say anything because that's her fiance, and she was crying, and then they took her away. I think there's a lot more in depth with it that we don't know.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot more we don't know.
And when they do eventually find them, if they find him, which I believe they will.
They'll find the gun before they find him.
Oh, they're going to find him. I don't be surprised if by next week they find him. They're going to find him. They're going to find him.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
2 weeks
Oh.
for somebody that you knew was a fugitive.
Well, there's an APP. There's an APP out on him. There's $100,000. I think it's $100,000 reward. If I'm not mistaken.
Let me go look for this kid.
There's $100,000 reward. I think eventually they're going to find him.
You want to go look for the guy?
Well, I'm not going. I'm not going down to Florida and trying to go on this. You know,
He might be here.
We don't know where he is. He's clearly not found yet.
he didn't go
He
anywhere.
might be here. His friends and family
The
are
only
here.
thing that's interesting to me is, okay, let's say he's driving a Winnebago, and they know what is the Winnebago's
VIN number.
The VIN number
And
is.
the plates.
So how, if you're going through from city to city or state to state, how do you not look at the how do you not look at the cameras and try to find? I
Maybe he's
guarantee
still
you
in Florida.
he could be. That's why I think he is. Florida's a big state.
It was a very big state.
Yeah, and you can hide. There's a lot of forests, a lot of mountains. There's a lot of everything. There's a lot of swamps. He could
Maybe a
absolutely.
crocodile ate him.
I don't think anybody ate him. I think he's absolutely, dude. If he wanted to die, he would have killed himself and just ended his life.
But
That's
maybe
what I
now
would have
the
done.
pressure's too
I would have went into my house, took a gun, and shot myself in the head.
He might have thought he got away with it. And now he realizes.
I
he's not.
think he thinks that he's going to run, and eventually people are going to forget what he did. And he's stupid idiot probably thinks
If
that.
that's really the train of thought, he's a moron.
But there's a lot of people that have not been caught. There was a guy that killed somebody.
Not a national case.
Yeah, national case. He's on the FBI list. He killed like 2 people, stole their money, and it was on the camera. And he disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know where he is. He's been gone for like 9 years.
He's not in the States.
He probably isn't. but they never found them. Dude, you can
Or
go on
is it some
YouTube.
kind of hiding, or
You
like
can
up
go
a
on
mountain?
YouTube. You can find it. You can find the stories.
Shit, it's almost 1 o'clock.
Yeah, but anyways, great show. Great show. We will be back, obviously, Wednesday. Shout out to all the fans that listen to us. Jeff for joining us, as always. Yes. What was else? Yes. Listen to the Weekend Crunch at 7 p.m. live on LI News Radio 103.9 FM. If you live out here on Long Island within a 70-mile radius, you can listen to the show. Or you can go to iHeartRadio and look up LI News Radio. You can listen to our show live. It's a great show. Great back and forth banter, debate hour. It's a great crunch time. It's a great show. Tune in and listen to it. We'll be back Wednesday with Tyler and all the craziness as always. Week 3. I almost went to week 5. Week 3 in football. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about there and everything. Baseball's almost over. I think we have like what a week and a half away from baseball. A week and a half.
All the teams are like 13 to
Playoffs
16
right around
games
the corner.
left. Yeah.
And then hockey starts next week.
Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah. So hockey starts next week, and then basketball the week after starts preseason. It's crazy. Anyways, that's it for our show. We will be back next week. Until then, this is Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison saying good night, and we'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.